Hello and welcome to a special spoilercast of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim that I'm doing with a couple of my friends. Would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
Hello, my name is Aeonstar, and I make JoJo videos typically, and yeah.
I'm TectonicImprov. I make YouTube videos about video games, whatever. Check out my channel, TectonicImprov.com.
Oh, hell yeah. And my name is Jim, by the way, I forgot to say. So I just wanted to thank you guys for finally, I've been dying to talk about this game with anyone.
Oh yeah, that's the eternal struggle with this game.
Yep.
And it's I found out about it through Pat from Super Best Friends or ex Super Best Friends.
Yeah.
Who mentioned it on his stream a bunch or on his podcast, and I was like, "Damn, this sounds pretty freaking cool." And then it's like I'm the only person.
Yeah, this game it's really good, but it is the least marketable thing I have ever seen.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
Have you two ever played any other Vanillaware games?
No, I haven't, but now
I've heard of most of them, at least.
Yeah. So I knew about this game for a while because I'm not a Vanillaware super fan, but I've been aware of them for a really long time because they made Odin Sphere and Muramasa and Dragon's Crown and stuff, and those games are all really cool. So, and this game was in development hell for years. I think it got announced in 2013 or 14 or something.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Damn.
I heard that the story has been in the works for years now, but I didn't know it was still in development that long.
You can definitely tell.
Yeah. This is such a labyrinthine mess of different plot lines.
It's a galaxy brain plot.
Yeah.
It really is, but that's what I love about it. It felt so dense. Whenever I'd sit down into it, I felt like I needed to really focus, and it was a really good real life distractor for me this past few weeks because things have been really fucked up lately.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
utterly loved this game, and it's funny because I really loved it. And the more I think about individual characters, I think I have a lot of criticisms towards it.
Yeah.
But the way that it was all constructed, it's kind of it's greater than the sum of its parts sort of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the most special thing about this game is the main crux of it, which is the 13 pilots. The fact that there's not really one specific protagonist. I mean, you could make the argument that it's June, but
yeah,
it everyone in the cast is focused on in their own plot line and has their own things that they're going through, and it's in how they interact with the other plot lines that everything becomes interesting.
Yeah, they really juggle. I did not expect a game with 13 main characters to like as many of the characters as I did, but they really accomplished something really special here because ironically I think was it the two characters you would think would be the main characters, Juro and Iori, are probably, I wouldn't say the most boring characters because Juro's story is actually pretty interesting, but those two were not the characters I was most excited to go through the story with.
Totally.
Yeah. There's for some reason there's always this thing where most people tend to not like the main characters of any given plot, and
yeah,
I expected to feel that way going into it, but I genuinely liked June Karabe's
Juro.
Why do I keep saying June?
It's okay.
Who am I mixing them up with? Karabe's plotline, and it was a lot. I thought it was going to be the basic one to align your thoughts with and get you something that's not too complex to ease you into the story. No, it's one of the most complex ones.
What was it? His prologue, the beginning. Is there anything we should, anything else general we want to say about the game before we dive into spoilers. I know like what I'm about to say is just in the prologue of the first guy's story you unlock, but still.
I think we've already said the spoiler cast. So.
Yeah, touche. Yeah. If you somehow clicked on this video, haven't played 13 Sentinels yet, please play it. Please God, play it.
Please play it.
It's like the greatest. I feel like I watched like one of the greatest science fiction anime ever. Except I got to play as it.
For me, like I would say it's probably like by far like one of my favorite time travel stories. It's like my second favorite mecha story behind like Ava. Like
there's a lot of
things that it does with mecha
similarities too between this and Ava.
I feel like we can just go down the list of all the subgenres in the sci-fi genre and say it's like okay, it's like the third best of this one,
it's
second best of this one,
third best magical girl anime, third best.
So that's like the thing with this game is I knew almost nothing about it besides the fact that it was a Vanillaware game and it was a mech game with like a visual novel or like adventure game with like tower defense sort of combat or whatever sprinkled in. I did not expect it to also be a non-linear time travel, but not really time travel, dimension hopping. Yeah, we're in spoilers now. Matrix. There's literally literally every single science fiction trope is in this game. Like every single one I can think of.
So that's one thing that I think is a really good like first kind of discussion to talk about before we get into like each character maybe, is that the one thing I heard about this game beforehand that I kept thinking about as I played was like the idea of media influencing you and like how what you've consumed influences your life in a way that you can't comprehend. And like we see this like so evidently with Natsuno, much with Juro. It's like the key point of Juro's thing is like how media is like changing his life and changing his personality.
Literally.
Yeah, and I thought that was just really cool. Like
that was a cool twist. I liked that.
Like it's so common in anime to see tropes reused, and like especially something like Evangelion is something that is just like you can find like a million characters that are like Rei clones or characters that are like tsunderes or whatever, but so rarely does this kind of critique have like this extra level of meta to it where it's like kind of critiquing the way that people are like consuming media. I thought it was really brilliant.
And it's funny you mention like Ava or like Rei clones or whatever, and I'm not saying she is one, but Shinonome, I got heavy Rei vibes from her.
Totally.
I get that impression too, although she has a bit more, I guess the word is agency than Rei. Like she has her own goals and stuff. Meanwhile, Rei is kind of just like she kind of just exists in the world and does what she's told, and there isn't really much more to her.
Well, that's the thing. It's like everyone's flipped. Like it takes like, okay, this is a character from Madoka Magica, but we're gonna like flip her, so she's not like suddenly this very clever tactical character. She's like an idiot kid who's totally fooled.
I might be wrong, but I think her Japanese voice actor is the same one as Madoka.
I did hear that. Yeah, it's the same.
True?
Same as.
I feel like that was just like a
Homura.
little cute reference to. This character is basically Madoka. That's what we're doing here. But one thing that I found was really interesting regarding the point you were talking about earlier, which with it all being based around the media you consume and how it affects your like perception of the world, I guess. So one of the earliest parts of the story that really stuck out to me is when I think Minami they go with BJ to the future. And they see like the tripod monster, and it just like suddenly they bring up a quote from War of the Worlds, and it was just like, okay, where are we going with this? Why we're being very like overt about the what each of these things is referencing. Like we're talking about UFO wars and shit like that. And that was what really invested me, because like there was a level of meta in that, okay, we expect that you already know all these tropes and what's usually done with them, and we're going to use that to kind of not only make you understand what's happening next, but also trick you and subvert your expectations.
Yeah. The game. I found myself asking the same question you did several times when playing this game, just being like, all right, where are they going with this after finishing like a chapter or whatever of the story? And like almost every single time the game manages to stick the landing in regards to like answering questions in a satisfying way. Not that you have to answer every single question in a story for it to be satisfying, but just, you know, the essential ones do get addressed. It's I think the part of the game where I was really like, okay, this shit is getting real was and I'm sure I know a lot of people are probably like this, was when you start Miura's story. Like it starts in like 2188, and it's Miura and Natsuno, and they're like talking on this like shuttle, and Miura's talking about how like, oh, I would love to have lived in 1945 Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? That was the first time I was like, holy shit, what's happening?
Afraid to go back to Miura's story because it felt almost like spoilers.
Yeah, right?
I think I tweeted this actually, but every single time I played a Miura chapter, it was like, I literally would have like my mouth open, because they always end in these like crazy revelations. Like, he has one of the best storylines in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a really great character, and it's definitely by design that way, because...
Hamburger?
Yeah. Yakisoba pan?
I gotta say, the first time you unlock Miura's plotline and you like mouse over it, and there's just like hell behind him and burning. That was just like, all right, I'm interested.
There was because one of the things in this game is that like certain characters' plot progressions are gated off until you do certain parts in either the battles or just unlock stuff in other storylines. But when I think Hijiyama, he's like one of the first guys you unlock. I think he might be like the third or the fourth, and you can do his prologue, and then once you complete his prologue, you get gated off until you do something in Ogata's storyline, and that happens so much later. So you just have this like hanging thread of Hijiyama in the back of your head throughout like all of this other stuff going on, and it really I really like that for two reasons. One reason is it allows for like natural cliffhangers that you would get in like a long running serialized work, like a TV show or a manga or something. And also because it's basically designing the story of the game as though it were like a Zelda dungeon. Really?
Yeah, because it's like locking keys.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I kind of have like maybe a different take on it, because I was so interested. I think early on, like Hijiyama has like the most interesting story hook, because it's like he gets trapped in a time that's not his own, and he spends like months in the I say modern world. It's not actually. It's 84, right? And
yeah.
So I think referring to the zones as the years is probably just going to be easy for like just discussion wise. But like, so he's I think he has such a compelling hook, and then we get like 2 chapters early with him, and then I don't know if maybe I just put it off too long, but there's one where you have to do a Goto chapter before you can do his, and Goto's chapters are like
you do not get Goto until I remember when you first unlock him. Or it's the same
90% of every other character.
Yeah, it's like complete at least 80% of 12 characters. I'm like, okay.
So I found myself
so literally everything. Gotcha.
And I found myself in a situation where maybe this was like I just waited a little too long, but I ended up doing like all of Hijiyama's story in like one sitting because I had to wait to finish everyone else's to unlock a thing.
I did that
too. Felt like, and what you were saying, how like each one is like it's got these like good cliffhangers. That like wasn't satisfying to me because it was like, all right, I got to go back to the school and then I got to like look for fucking like pennies on the ground.
Scrounging for change while everyone's like looking at you like you're a weirdo is funny, but also I know what I can understand.
That
what
should
you're
not
saying.
be like should not be like late game content. That should have been dispersed earlier, in my opinion. But I don't know. I found his story to be like initially super interesting, and then like kind of left wanting more with him and
Okino.
Okino, thank you.
Okay.
But that's that kind of goes into another like thesis I have, but I'll bring that up later.
If I had one major issue with the game, it's in that section. It doesn't just let you pick up stuff with the action button that you use for everything else in the game. You have to like think about it.
I read people saying online they had trouble with that. I that was one of the things I picked up on pretty quickly, was using the change thought bubble thing. But there were some other parts where I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? like in Iori's story where it's her oh god, now I'm blanking on this.
Miwa. There's Miwa-chan and
yeah, and
Tomi.
Thank you, Kisaragi, yeah. It's them, and they're like talking about like getting food or whatever, and then like they have like the cat is also there, and you're supposed to do something with the cat, but when you start the chapter, you can't do anything with it yet. So I kept thinking I was doing something wrong when the cat would run away, but it turns out you just have to talk to Kisaragi at a certain point in the conversation, and then they'll get like food or whatever, and then you can continue with the story. I was like, that was something that stumped me for a bit. And then there was another
that was really early too.
Yeah, it was early too, so I put off Fuyusaka's story for a little bit, and then there was another part in Takamiya's story, the Sukuban girl, and where you're like interviewing people. And I was legitimately stumped. I thought I had picked everything, but what I didn't realize was that you had to go into Natsuno's journal and pick a specific entry in it, and then only one entry from her journal appears in the thought bubble at a time. So if you cycle through them, you'll miss the one you have to go to. So those were like the parts of the game that I think stumped me for a non-zero amount of time, but most everything else I didn't have much trouble with. Oh, there was another one in Shinonome's section, but that was because that was another reason, and I've talked long enough about that.
I know exactly what you're talking about with the Shinonome bit, and that kind of frustrated me too, because it was like, you have to get Goto distracted so you can walk away.
I figured that out, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, I initially that was pretty clear, but like the problem is there's like another conversation that you need to have. So to me it felt awkward, and it was like just kind of weird trial and error. I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again, and then I just got it. But
yeah, it was.
I had very few issues with that, and I found myself pretty engaged with the whole like visual novel. Like it's like a pseudo visual novel, I guess.
It's more like an adventure game.
Yeah,
I suppose. If for some reason visual novels turn you off, then just call it an adventure game, and then maybe I'll get more people interested. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, because this is the thing that is like hard for me to recommend the game, is because I know that there are people who immediately kind of poo-poo visual novels, and like I was the same kind of for a bit too, until I think I played Danganronpa, and that kind of just like showed me, it's like, oh no, there's so much more that a game like this can be, and like the term visual novel can be like sort of a misnomer and kind of a bad label for some things.
It's kind of it's not derogatory, but people would, it's one of those terms that people turn their nose up at. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one other thing. I don't know if I'm just a dumb idiot, but I really want to run this by everyone. So, the one like thing that made me feel like an idiot was, and I want to see if you guys had the same experience. Did you think that Jiro's friend, I forget his name,
Shiba.
Shiba.
Yeah.
Cute Shiba,
Did you think that Shiba was actually Shu?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
When I
did the same
started the
thing.
game, I thought Shiba and Shu were like the same guy for a
Yes.
little bit, and I
I
was
Okay.
didn't realize
That
the
must be
distinction
intentional.
until I think further on in Karabe's story, or at the time where they all meet up. I don't remember.
when they introduced Amiguchi, or when you unlock
Yeah.
Amiguchi's story, I was like, oh, this is a different guy.
I felt like played. Like I was like a fiddle in their hands. Like,
Well,
it was
Shiba
so
is
clever.
someone else, but that's
Yes.
unrelated.
Yeah, but okay. I just wanted to bring that up because that was something that like stumped me
Yeah.
or like it kind of floored me when I discovered. I was like, wait, shit! Like I've been attributing all of these like character traits to a different character.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
damn.
It might be because I feel like out of all the character designs, Amiguchi's sort of blends in the most, which is
Yes.
kind of a shame because Amiguchi's probably one of my favorite characters. Because when you hear them, or when you're in Karabe's story and Shiba like talks about him, about how he's like this rich kid who like gets whatever he wants. His dad's never around, so he gets this whole like apartment to himself. So you think like, oh, he's probably just like some like douche, but he's probably one of the like, and he's like a player and all that, but he's probably one of the nicer guys all around.
I liked Amiguchi a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First impression was pretty bad because like a lot of his lines are kind of but I especially like you assume from a lot of these characters going in because you see their future versions a lot, and by future I mean past, and by past I mean 2188.
And by past versions, I mean the original versions and not the
Yes.
clones.
And by past
thousands of
versions, I
clones.
mean the future ones that happen in between. But Tetsuya Ida, you get told that he's and Amiguchi
Tetsuya
are the
Ida.
same person,
Yeah,
and then like they basically are just two entirely different characters. And I
that's
wasn't
really
expecting
interesting.
that.
Yeah, because I think out of all of the past versions with the pilots, Ida and Amiguchi are probably the most different. Because some of them are mostly the same. Like I think Okino is pretty similar to his original version.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is actually one of the other big thing that I have like kind of theme that I get from this game is that like it's very much you are shaped by your surroundings kind of
like a nature versus
absolutely.
nurture
philosophy.
thing.
Because so the big thing, and I'm just gonna maybe spoil my opinion on this, but like I found myself very sad at the end of Okino and Hijiyama's storyline because it's revealed through their original versions that they were like married, like
They were
in
legit
love.
married. I did not expect that.
I know.
I thought they were gonna play around with it the whole time, but to have it like confirmed at all, even if it wasn't like the past life, is like pretty like I didn't expect it.
I mean, I felt like they were pretty overt about it from the very beginning.
Well, yeah.
that makes
I thought they
sense.
were just gonna be flirty throughout the whole game, and even
Anime has problems with this sometimes. Of like,
yeah.
they'll get up until the line and then they won't cross the line. But like, the fact that they said they were married was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And like obviously in the ending, we see that Hijiyama is still like very so even after like time has passed, like 5 years.
Yeah.
He's still like not official with Okino, even though he clearly has feelings for Okino.
I mean, I honestly think that's kind of fair because for him, he was raised in an environment where it was like,
Yeah.
was it 1945, where like
Imperial
that was
Japan.
unthinkable.
Yeah.
And
No, and
so like obviously he still needs to like reprocess things in his brain and probably will take slower. And he's also kind of dense, so
Yeah, but we love him, even though. But I think that's like the cool aspect of it is it's like, yeah, because he had all these years of programming, basically, saying like this is not this is not a way to think, and then like his attraction to Okino is so immediate that it like really throws him into a spiral. I still love the boy though. Very, very good.
yeah.
Yeah, I liked their relationship a lot. I thought it was really interesting. Whenever like Okino showed up in another story, I was like, what's the deal with this guy? I need to know more about this guy, because he's most prevalent in Hijiyama's story, and you don't get access to that until like way later. So whenever Okino shows up somewhere else, it's like, okay.
And I was convinced that Okino was going to be a playable character, because when you do the prologues, like you do the character's prologue, and then
he's in the Sentinel,
yeah, exactly. And I was just like, what's going to happen with that?
Although I didn't realize until after the reveal that like the only one who can actually speak with him is
because when
Hijiyama, that he actually doesn't have a number, and somehow
shit, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, somehow like I didn't even realize that the entire time, even when the portraits are right next to each other.
Yep.
I did not notice that at all.
Like
so much is
really
hidden in plain
I
sight.
like that.
Yeah,
like,
I love how
there's
much
a
is
lot
hidden
of
in
little
plain sight.
things with like Shiba and Okino where like you just don't realize that certain characters aren't being addressed by everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
They do a pretty good job of that.
They're like certain characters are closer than others, but in reality it's like just a big setup to a payoff, and it's really great.
Yeah. There was an interview with the writer of the game. I should have read this before I went to the before I did this spoiler cast, so I could be lay lore man. But it's funny that the one thing I do think is funny is that the game is called like 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim when there are technically 15 people, because Tamao and Okino were also part of the experiment to terraform that new planet. It's just that things didn't work out so well for them in the current loop or whatever.
And the fact that when you first start the combat section, I think whatever first character you are, it's like Sentinel number 15, and it's just like,
yeah,
so wait,
right. I was like, it's like, wait a minute, I thought this was 13 Sentinels. They explain it pretty well though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the cool thing is it's like,
and then they make Joro kind of number 13 because
and then I clapped.
Hero Man.
No, but I think it's just like so cool how it's almost like you're dropped into like a random point. It's not like you're given like a specific entry into it. It's just like every story is happening at like different times. Some stories span like months and months, and some are like what's his name? This is the Nenji Ogata.
Ogata's story.
Like one of the most awesome ones.
It's so good.
And it takes place like, and it's like the same scenario over and over again, but the way that they like iterate on it makes it so fun. Whereas like when I do the Iori chapters and I have to like decide whether I want to eat like pancakes or fucking like ice cream, it's like, yeah, I don't give a shit.
It's like, I don't fucking care. But then now suddenly it's fucking Groundhog Day, and you have to stop. You have to like figure out how to stop or find like the Daimos key or whatever. That was one of that's one of the notes I wrote down, was that Ogata time loop Kino. And that was one of my favorite parts, and it really endeared me to Ogata as a character. Because he's another one of those guys, kind of like Amiguchi, where like you would expect him to be like a tool, but he's probably he's just so nice. He's such a nice guy.
I love Nenji.
I mean, he has some moments where he's just like, specifically with Minami, I think, where he's just like, all right, dude, come on.
Yeah. but like when him oh my Christ, the fuck's her name?
Megumi?
No, not Yakushiji. The we were talking about her earlier. The Twin Tails girl.
Oh, Tomi Kisaragi.
Yeah. Thank you, Tomi Kisaragi and Miwako. Like when they get transported to the future, he almost immediately like takes charge to make sure that like everyone is safe. And I thought that was when I was like, all right, so this guy's like actually like he's a softie, he's a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. It's like that classic sort of like heart of gold, rough exterior, sort of like he's a Yankee,
he's
I guess you'd say.
Type.
Yeah. He is a Josuke type.
He's even got the hair.
Oh,
And,
I love the part at the end of the game in the epilogue where he like Wajima comes up to him and he's just
Yeah.
like, Wajima man, I missed you.
I love it.
Yeah, that was nice. And they're talking about how like or he meets up like with Kisaragi or whatever, and she's just like, it's like, that's what your hair used to look like, jeez. And then he's just like, wow, sure got lucky that you filled out, huh? That's like, I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, I love that. Like, that is like there's so many great moments where when the stories intersect, like, there's a part in Tomi's story near the end where you get like the scene where Nenji is on the platform and like
From
you get the
her
context for
yeah.
that. Yeah, you get the context for the conversation, and it's just like, I don't know, moments like that just feel like it's like dominoes falling perfectly.
Yeah.
Like all I can do is just sit and watch.
Jigsaw falling into place. It's all, oh yeah, it's all coming together. It's perfect. Mwah.
Although the shit that they do with Nenji, so like, I think I did Nenji's story before Mura's maybe, but the one scene where he goes on the train and Morimura and Iori and the younger Chihiro like switch between them immediately. I was just wondering what the hell was going on because I had seen none of the younger Chihiro.
Oh, really?
So I didn't even know.
Wow.
I didn't have any context for that. And then
that's
I was like, okay, so they are the same character and they're just confirming it. I was so confused.
Yeah, at that point I felt like a fucking idiot because I was like, a fucking course. Iori looks just like Morimura. What the fuck? What the fuck's wrong with me? How did I not put this together before? or
There's
like
so
and
many.
then like immediately after that scene, he's just like, wait a minute. The League of Darkness. And I got so worried.
I was like, the League of what? Thankfully, that wasn't really that important.
Yeah, it was just like when he was a kid. But
yeah,
it's pretty funny.
That's all the fun misdirect stuff of like people's perception being based on like, that was like what, a Sentai show or something that he watched when he was a kid. That's just really fun. Yeah, there's so much like that I love about Nenji. Like, Nenji was one of those characters that I loved. I think it'd be fun if we went around and said who's your favorite and who's your least favorite of the Sentinels. The main characters. Damn, do I want to go first? I'll go first. Alright, least favorite. This is really difficult. I think it might have to be Iori. I think Iori has like a really like lousy second half in my opinion.
I think her story is the worst, but I like her as a character.
How's her second half go again?
I'm talking about story.
It's when it's her finding out that she's Morimura, right? And like I don't think Goto's
Morimura
like tailing her.
I don't think Morimura is involved with Iori's story that much.
All it is her like falling in love with I
liked that.
Sekigahara. I also didn't like Sekigahara too much, so I didn't care about this like high school crush on this character.
I have a small pet peeve with the generations of the Sentinels. Like, I know that there's like story and logistical reasons why each character gets certain ones, but there's obviously like favoritism to certain generations for specific characters.
Like gameplay wise,
Sekigahara should have been a Gen 4, and Takamiya should have been a Gen 1.
Yeah, she really does feel like I mean, you know, she's a fucking Sukuban girl, so like you expect her to be like kicking ass, but and I guess like and she's in like this like support copter thing, which that threw me for a loop. But
that was, I think you're totally right, Aeon. Like that is a weird, like that's perfectly like fixable. But going back to like picking like, so that Iori's my least favorite, whereas Yuki Takamiya is probably my favorite.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's really. I don't know if I like her story that much, but I really like her character.
I liked her story. I liked her story in that like it was like the bathroom stuff was really interesting, and her like playing detective with
Erika Iba.
Yeah, Erika Iba. I was like, all right, so who is this Erika Iba girl? And then like it's almost immediately like she is not who she says she is. And I was like, all right, that's interesting.
The moment she shows up on screen, you're like, all right, this is suspicious.
Yeah, sound the alarms. But yeah, is she my favorite though? I think she's probably my favorite girl from the cast.
It would either be, I think, for me at least, like storyline wise, her story or Mirai, or Mira. Sorry, I keep saying Mirai, which I think is another Japanese word. Mirai, as we said, like just has like the best story beats.
Yeah, Mira's is really good. Jeez, my favorite. I'd say my favorite is probably. I'll go with Ogata. I think Ogata is probably my favorite character from it. Amiguchi and Hijiyama are both runners up. I'll go with Ogata because I didn't just like his character, but I also thought his story was really engaging. Like Amiguchi's like a cool guy, but honestly, his story ends on his story ending was really weird to me because
how does it even end? I literally forget.
Well, because it's in his story that it's revealed that the sectors are that the timelines are really sectors and that they're all walled off.
Yeah, that one's really weird to me because all right, at the very end it's revealed that they're all inside of essentially a simulation, and the cockpits are that's the real world.
Yes.
What's the need for city boundaries in a simulation?
It's from what I understood, it was to it was to make sure that they because I don't think you could
because they couldn't simulate the whole world, obviously.
Yeah,
but it makes it feels weird that Universal Control would even let them experience the outskirts, or that there would be a design for them in the first place.
That's really, I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point.
I think it's one of the, well, because they talk about how they had memories implanted into them. I think what it was is that because the Deimos code was already loose by the time the story kicks off proper, and I think doesn't that conflict with Universal Control in some way? So maybe that's
why.
They
specifically say that Universal Control thinks the Deimos code is fully legit.
Yeah,
and that's the reason it's an issue.
I think it might.
Maybe there's an explanation for it at some point that I'm forgetting, but I thought that was really weird, and I don't think it ever got resolved.
I feel like there's an explanation for it, but I'm drawing a blank too.
Yeah,
there's a couple. There are very
there's an
few
explanation
things
for why Mura isn't naked in the cockpit. It's it's ridiculous.
Speaking of sorry, not even speaking of, but going into this idea that there are any possible weird things that weren't resolved. For me, the one thing that seemed like it was going to be a thing that wasn't was Kaito's surgical scar.
Oh yeah, that was.
I don't remember them ever because they make sure to mention that it is specifically a surgical scar, and he doesn't have it when he's in the past, his original version. So I don't know. It just feels
wasn't that just for piloting a Sentinel?
Yeah, it was to put his nanomachines in him.
That's where he does the start.
Okay, yeah. And then he had it. He didn't need to be shot by Yakushiji, so I guess that is it.
Yeah.
That's definitely it.
Did she shoot him in the same place, anyways?
She did.
No, does she shoot
does.
him? I don't think she shoots him because she
no,
doesn't.
No, she does.
There's a scene where they're in the house and it's
that's where the surgical scar discussion even comes up because he told her it was a surgical scar, and that was right before she shot him. So he forgot that he told her, but she knew it was a surgical scar.
Yeah.
And when they each do the swipe across the part of their body that has the implants, that he takes off his hat, right? And he swipes it across his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
Also, I just love that so much. That is such a great anime gimmick.
It's really cool. It's cool.
That was my favorite. This is that's the thing that invested me originally when I started the game. The whole animation of just the start. Something about the aesthetic of that is just so great.
And all the girls have it in the best place.
Yeah, they do. My favorite part about the start thing is that it's obviously you don't even question that it's that it says start when they activate it because it's oh whatever, it's they're activating the Sentinels, but it's start because the code for the Deimos is from a fucking game. Literally
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, because Okino used he repurposed code, which I don't think you can do that, but whatever. The repurposed code from Mighty Kaiju Daimos. Yeah, open source. Yeah, exactly. So like that's why it's like a start thing, and I think that's also why I interpreted the tower defense stuff as like it's like pixely and stuff, because I think it's supposed to be more like a simulation, like it's like gamey almost.
Right, like there's one point which I like kind of glazed over when he started saying it, but Juro Izumi, I think as the cat, he just starts talking about like meta chips and like how
that was like blowing my fucking mind.
Like, don't do this. That's
I screamed.
So dumb.
I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They explain the currency I use in the battle. They did not need to do this, but it's still cool.
To me, that was like a classic like fuck you.
Dumb.
It was like a fuck you moment almost. It was like, oh yeah, you've been doing this whole time. Well, here's the explanation for it, dumbass.
Yeah. It's just like piling on. They have an answer for this one too. But that actually
we should
I think for that reason, Megami, I like her as a character, but her story is one of my least favorites because just like she does so much dumb shit and like there's no repercussions for it.
Yakushiji was probably my least favorite character out of all
really?
of them. I
honestly do like her as a character, but I don't like her story that much.
I love her.
I think it's funny how that she's like Juro's like trad wife or whatever. she just like lives with him, and Juro's like, oh, I don't understand what's happening, and she's like cooking food for him and being like, it's like, Juro, I love you, and he's like, I think that's funny, but like her for pretty much like the same reasons why you don't like her story is just like it's nothing really against, I don't hate her or anything, but I wasn't really into her story because I mean, her story is her like going around activating the Sentinels, which is in the end it's revealed to be a good thing because they need to do Operation Aegis, but like the whole time the story is framed as like this is something you shouldn't be doing, and it's like,
yeah, you kind of hate her, like
you don't really want her to be doing it, and which is why I really, when there's a point in the story where she meets up with Sekigahara and he's just like, what's going on here? And so I was expecting him to like her and him to like team up or something and get to the bottom of things, but I don't know if that goes anywhere. I think she just like escapes and then, or like someone
does
intervenes.
She ever shoot Sekigahara? Like,
I don't think she did.
I don't think she needs to.
Wait, or was Sekigahara like implanted with those already, and that's from?
I think he was.
He probably would have.
There's a couple characters she doesn't shoot. Like she doesn't need to shoot Hijiyama, I don't think, because he's plowing around with Okino, so he's already.
She does shoot him though. She shoots him?
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, like when they're in the warehouse.
God, yeah.
She also uses it as like a memory loss technique or like a memory loss tool sometimes too, though. So
it is a convenient memory loss gun as well as a magic gun.
I mean,
Linkara could take some point.
Yeah, where did she purchase
nano
that?
Machines, at least that makes sense that they would have memory loss typically.
Yeah, I don't think it's like it's not explained or anything. But
it's convenient as hell, but yeah.
It is convenient. Oh, yeah, it's convenient as fuck.
But the one thing with her story that like really like what's the opposite of endearing? Like I hated Juro early on because Juro was so mean to her. Like he's such an asshole to her.
He's given her the cold shoulder, but I think I played enough of his story early on to know why he would be doing that, and it's because
I think
it's sketchy as hell that she lives with him
or whatever of him killing everyone. I think that's enough to put him off.
Mm-hmm.
And
because like if it was something like I don't want her being around me or something like that, like he was generally scared that he would do something, and I think
we're gonna get expelled from school, Yakushiji-san. You can't live at my house.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and in hindsight, it is super weird, and like, it's kind of weird too because like the game for a long time doesn't treat them as like a relationship, like a two-sided, like two ways, where it's like
It's very
Tomi
unrequited.
Yeah, like Tomi and Ogita, or oh my god, Ogata are very much like, oh, they're like catty, like it's really cute seeing them together, but like in comparison, it is so unrequited, and it feels a little weird at the end for them to just both be like, oh yeah, let's fuck.
Right. Like,
Yo,
like,
but that ending screen
from
though.
Oh, I loved it.
I get it from Megami's side, but like Jiro's side, like they have this whole theme going on throughout the entire game of like you're not defined by you're defined by your memories, and like if you have different memories, you're a different person essentially. That's why Jiro Izumi and Morimura are together while Kurabe and Megami are together.
Yes.
But like I feel like that kind of went out the window a little bit towards the end with their relationship, because that still like persisted even though Kurabe no longer has memories. But I guess at the same time, like it doesn't mean that it's not possible for those characters to align together as long as like one side still tries to, you know. But I thought the sort of Adam and Eve scene at the very end was sort of cute, and I
liked
enough
it.
justification for it.
It was also funny that they were like, oh yeah, you know this high school girl you've seen the whole game? Actually, she's legal.
Let's fucking go!
But no, that is a really cool, like, I like that how they kind of play around with the pairings, and like we even see like that flashback to when Jiro like met Yakushiji, and like in like the way far past
when he just lands in the pond or something like that and teleports out.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean like in the when we get the flashbacks from like 2080 or 2180 whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he like saved her life,
the original.
Like, and it's almost kind of weird because at that point he's an adult and she's like, they make sure to tell you like she's a child,
right?
In that, so it's funny. And then we see the kind of the same thing with them,
like not even associated with the original characters, so I guess it's fine. But
yeah, because
it's kind of weird when in the moment.
It's same with Takemiya and Natsuno. It's like,
oh my god,
this is like a mother-daughter thing.
Like, so like
that was really interesting because like I feel like they intentionally try to like sway you that it's more of an Okino and Hijiyama sort of relationship, but then like that whole thing turns the entire thing around, and
it really it really just like changes it.
BJ's name. So like at one point a character just like
calls him Miura.
So it's the original Miura, right?
Yeah.
And at one point I think it's like Sekigahara refers to him as Miura, and I was just like,
that was another,
I didn't get any like reveal beforehand. I don't know if there was supposed to be one, and it was supposed to be like a different order, or you're just like blindsided.
Fucking poor BJ, man. Although I guess he ends up fine in the end, but
like that.
I think it's mostly earned, but yeah.
But he just calls him happy. Made sense.
It's also like cursed. Like his existence is cursed because he's like not the real version of a real person that exists.
Yeah.
And, like, his waifu is in love with the real version of him. Like I hate that life.
It's I think like probably to go back to what you're saying about what you were saying, Aeon, about the about how like everyone ends up okay in the end, which is mostly true. Even Izumi or even fucking Ida. Tetsuya fucking Ida gets somewhat of a resolution, but like I think one standout thing that's still mostly tragic is Shinonome, because she, by the time she like the end of her story is that the drugs take hold and she forgets everything of her life so far, and she still has to fight anyway. I remember finishing that story being like, wow, that's pretty fucking sad, because she never gets those back. So she pretty much just has to like start over. And
it's so sad when you're playing her story and you talk to like every other character you know,
and they're like, so like they pity her so much.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
And like the whole kind of misdirect with the, what is it, 426?
Yeah.
Like that, like, I think it's really cool how that like the idea that there's an enemy named 426, like it persists in her memory and it like perverts it and becomes like something else. So she's like devoting all of this energy into something that is just not true. Yeah, her story is so tragic.
Thinking of Lilo and Stitch.
Thankfully, I've never seen Lilo and Stitch.
Experiment 626.
That's so funny. That's funny. That's the 60. When you said Lilo and Stitch, I immediately was like, oh yeah, 66. Like, stuck in my head too.
Did you, Aeon, did you have a favorite, least favorite? Did you say Yakushiji was your least favorite, or did I just...
Yeah, Yakushi. Is my least
yeah,
story.
I agree.
Like, I think my favorite is probably Miura's, just because like
it's definitely the story that goes where the game. I mean, like I was saying earlier, it's the story where the game just kind of like kicks into the next gear, and it's like, you thought this was about this? No, we're going even further. It's the first like inkling of that.
Also, like besides it being like really story plot heavy, I really like the dynamic of
yeah,
it's awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like flipped on what we normally think, because like just for like a really common example, like Captain America is like, oh yeah, like we're America, and like we won.
It was like the same thing,
but
with
it's more interesting because like, oh no, they lost. And like I think early on in one of the early like battle engagements is Hijiyama, he's like, yeah, come on, we're gonna take these back and win World War II. Once we're done this fight, we're just gonna time travel.
Tugs call it.
Oh no.
It is the year 2,990,000.
Oh
yeah, that's a good one. I do like Miura a lot. And I like his outfit too. I think it's one of the more catching.
Awesome.
The hat
outfits.
Is like so defining.
Well, yeah, when you select him and he fucking puts it under his head, it's like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. We're gonna play CGI.
I love the little animation he has where he dusts it off. That's great.
Yeah.
One thing just to talk about the animation, like I was so impressed by, because like normally when you play any video game that's super long, like you start to like notice, okay, this is like the character animation for this is that, but they're all done so well that like it never feels stale. Like characters, the way they move and the way they like acknowledge each other, I felt looked very convincing the whole time.
Yeah, the
Vanillaware
character animation in Vanillaware's
masters.
games are just all amazing.
I'm such a noob to them. I need to check out some of their older stuff then, apparently.
And
yeah,
the thing that I love, especially in this one, which I don't think was a staple of like previous Vanillaware games as much, was the lighting.
The lighting is on another level,
especially in
this
the
game.
classroom and then in the city at night. The like lighting coming through the windows and like illuminating everything, and like the color grading on the scenes where everything, like each different era has a different sort of color grading to it that makes it instantly recognizable. Like the far future has like reds and blues, and it like looks post-apocalyptic, and then 2025 has like pastels and it looks abandoned, and then like it's also great.
The 80s feels so nostalgic. Like they use these like really like burnt oranges and
it's like perpetually sunset.
I love
it's really nice.
So good. The lighting, I'm so happy you brought that up, because that was something like I can't believe how good it looked. And like if you think about how the game would be made, like, oh yeah, it doesn't seem too hard to believe that like since the character is basically just like a two-dimensional image, like having their own just like matching lighting to the background, but it works so seamlessly.
Yeah. I'd love to see this on like the PlayStation 5 or something. I wonder if they have some sort of way to do like, I don't know, fucking ray tracing with the lights or whatever. I think that would look insane.
I don't think it's like run in the same way since it's 2D scene. Although one thing I did notice was whenever they show the city and you're moving around, they have a bunch of parallax layers so that everything moves as though it's in 3D.
Did
you
all
the motorcycle scenes?
Did you two play this on base PS4 or PS4 Pro?
Base PS4.
Base, yeah.
All right, so we all played this on base PS4, so we can all attest that the final mission in the game
oh my god,
chugs it down to single fucking digits. I was laughing my ass off at it because
so like there's so many missiles because like the whole strategy battle gameplay, they like every single enemy is like 3 images just like stacked onto each other, and it's like the simplest thing ever. And
but there's so much.
It still manages to chug because there's like actual millions of entities.
Yeah, you need to strategically focus on the crowds, not like the actual danger, just so that the
frame
game
rate
runs.
up. It was ridiculous. Like there were a couple times where like the frames would drop, especially when you send like a fuck ton of missiles in a crowd, and like the frames drop. And it's like, okay, I mean, you know, whatever. But like that final mission where they send so much stuff at you. It's almost unbearable.
It's one of the few instances where like I don't find frame drops obnoxious. I find them like really.
I mostly found it funny.
It makes it feel more impactful, actually.
It almost does. It almost does. I wonder if, because it says on the back of the box it's PS4 Pro Enhanced, so I assume it runs better, or at least in 4K. I would love to see this game in 4K.
Oh, that'd be so awesome! Just like just me alone in a movie theater watching Yakashiji walk around making like hamburgers and steak, hamburger steak.
Now that's the silver screen experience.
Touché.
I do actually. This is a really good time to talk about the actual like fighting gameplay, the RTS stuff.
Yeah,
I really, really loved it. Actually,
yeah,
I think it's really good and it serves the purpose that they're going for. I don't think I could have spent twice as much time in it. I think the amount of time that they spent is perfect, and it like provides just enough depth to like keep you going and like not dreading going back.
Yeah. And then I don't know how you guys did it, and it's funny that you mentioned the thing earlier about the BJ reveal being weird because of how you played it, Aeon. But for me, I would wait until I did every character story, and then I would binge
I did that too.
I did
the
the
RTS stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I found that to be just really fun and satisfying because it was like I started like kind of doing it in between, and there are some like really big spoilers.
They start letting it rip in the battle sections.
Yeah,
and it's not. Can
they
we
actually
call it a
do
spoiler
gate off
even?
the battle sections?
They
a
do.
lot.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
So
But,
like I don't
find
think
it
you could
interesting
ever.
'cause-
No, you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I find it interesting because they treat the battle sections almost as if they were like a fourth route in Remembrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they have their own reveals in that section, and they like it's the only area where you actually get like large group conversations with all the main protagonists, and that's
that was
really
nice.
cool.
I liked that a lot.
And, yeah.
And trying to do all the mission things.
I think it's Goto's whole scenario is taking place.
Yeah. I was gonna
during
mention that.
Other parts of the battle segment, because you just assume that everything is going to be before the very first mission.
Yeah.
But like then you have like the stuff with Chihiro, and like you don't exactly know what's going on with her or how she showed up, but it's explained through Goto's section, and it's really good.
Yes. Yeah, I liked that a lot about Goto's section, which I'm sure we can talk about later. But the gameplay part, I didn't hate it, but I definitely by the time I was done with the game and they were like, and now you can do the bonus sections, I was like, I bought this for the story. It was just like, I think the problem was that the battle sections are really easy for a significant amount until I think around maybe like the second, like at the end of the second wave, they have that like boss where you have to like go through the line of enemies, and there's the Mayuki Inaba is like singing her song or whatever, which is just a banger, by the way.
That was a great scene.
Like that one was like kind of tough, and then I didn't really have any other problems. I don't think I died once until the final section, which was a ball buster, which was actually like pretty fucking hard.
Yeah.
Once I discovered the drill arm.
What difficulty did you all play it on? Because
I just played it on normal.
I played it on normal the whole way through, and then like, all right. So for the most part, I stayed at normal mode, and I just tried to get as consistently perfect scores going through.
I mostly got
though I just like regretted that and wish I just started off with the most difficult setting, because when I tried to jump back up to it, it like threw me off. But yeah, I think it would have been more fun if I did the difficult one the whole way through.
It really, like, the gameplay part almost sort of felt like I wasn't interested in playing on a higher difficulty, because I really did just want to get back to the story at a certain point. Maybe if I spaced it out better, like the gameplay sections, maybe I would have felt differently. But it almost felt, because I don't really play like a lot of RTS or tower defense games, but like the amount of like stuff you can do to the Sentinels is like, it's kind of overwhelming. I don't think I found out that you could like increase the Sentinels themselves like stats until like halfway through the second wave. That's definitely like a
post game thing, because I don't think I think you can just like stay at 0 for all of them for the entire run.
It's what I mostly did.
Not only like
did you guys try and do that at all? Because I did
a little, and I mostly focused on upgrades for the weapons.
Yeah, so because I was like, okay, maybe, because I tried to do the whole thing without doing a reset, so that like what was it called, like
the brain overload.
So I tried to do it without doing a reset.
I had the streak for the whole game until the last level, where I needed a certain group, or else I didn't think I was gonna win it. So, oh my god, I dropped my streak for the final level.
I was bummed.
Same thing at like the very end too.
Shameful.
But so like I leveled up that stat, because there's a stat that says like, oh yeah, this prevents the brain freak out, and I did it, and then it leveled it up 1 point. And then I tried it with attack too. I was like, okay, well, this character's attack is like 45, so let me like level this up. Levels it up to 46. And first off, no difference in the brain thing. Like, they only still had 2 like uses before they'd go into brain coma, and so it didn't do anything. And then like the attack one, I was like, well, this is so negligible, I could just buy an upgrade and it would be more effective. So
I have to
totally
wonder,
useless.
I have to wonder if maybe we're just missing something to it.
I think that's true. I think it's just like a thing that exists if you want to max out your Sentinels and just like destroy everything with one character or something like that.
Yeah, if you like have like a
just a bonus thing that isn't really meant to be used in the main story. Although I have one really big gripe with the system that they use for the brain overload.
Oh yeah,
and that's that the bonus objectives
they
require you to use certain characters, and you won't know in advance when you need certain characters in the future, so you don't know whether you should deploy them.
That tripped me up. A few times. Thankfully, it's not
there's like
big
nothing you
deal,
can do besides just reset your streak.
Yeah,
and
it was
that
annoying.
defeats the whole purpose of getting bonus points.
Yeah, what I would do is I would make sure that I would go for characters that weren't pairs, because it was always paired off characters. Like, it would always be like Juro and Yakushiji,
right,
or
Tomi
and
Obata.
So I would make sure that at least like I would try and be in a state where there would be characters would always have like one slot ready to overload, so that I would do that. And I guess I just got really lucky with the first few that I did because I was able to get it pretty regularly. There were a few early
Right.
on that I missed, but
I think it was the same with me, and I didn't really get one until like wave 3 or 4 or something like that. But yeah, I just found that like really frustrating, and there was really no reason why I needed to be that way.
yeah, no, and it really doesn't do anything. I think it just makes your rank better.
If you complete the bonus objectives, it unlocks a specific mystery log in the in the analysis section.
Yeah, so if you
Let's
want
talk about the mystery
complete the
logs.
analysis, you have to go back to the ones that you missed, which sucks.
Some of those mystery logs are like, oh yeah, this is just the binder that Natsuno carries around. Others are like, in the year 2041,
Yeah.
there is
It's a
nothing
crate.
left.
Crepes, a delicious savory treat.
Yeah, and honestly, I did learn
Time
about
travel is used to travel through time.
The Daimos code is a secret. Yeah,
I have to admit, I'd never heard of yakisoba pan before, so
Me neither.
I was willing to eat up any info about that.
yeah. I had to look up what it was too.
That thing looks delicious, and I want to try
I
it.
know.
It does look pretty good. It does look pretty good.
The way that my mind works, because I like to cook a lot, but the way my mind works is when I see something like that, or when I see a YouTube video about like a certain type of food, I have it stuck in my head until I eventually just make it myself. So I really want to try and make it.
Yeah.
All right, and what else haven't we talked about? There's so much. I personally can go on.
There's
for
a lot
There's
a
a
lot.
to
lot.
cover.
We don't have.
We can't
I
cover
won't
everything.
keep you guys here forever.
Can
But-
we talk for a bit about Goto's section and how
Oh yes,
the entire purpose of it is that he took notes so you don't have to.
yes. I like because it's really what's really cool about Goto, and he's not my favorite character or anything, but I do like him. Is that
fine.
like he is a presence throughout almost every other character's story, and he's very mysterious. Like,
Not only
Up
that,
to-
you probably hate him.
yeah, like up
Yeah.
to a point, especially after when I was doing Shinonome's story, I did not like him. Like, I thought he was going to be like some sort of villain.
Yeah,
He seems like, because especially since he's the president of Shikishima,
Yeah,
he seems like the
he's bad
kind
news.
of background one manipulating the strings, when in reality he's just like pretty much like everyone else trying to
Figure
save
it out.
everyone.
he's just a smart boy.
Him-
He's doing his brain.
I got some really I got mad Phoenix Wright vibes when he is interrogating the little
Morimura.
kindergartner Morimura, and he's like, "That's interesting, Miss Morimura." But I have
Hear
another
Cornet
hypothesis.
playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It was really cool. It's like
Is there any reveal more shocking than the scene when kindergartner Morimura pulls out a gun and kills
I was
adult
laughing my
Morimura?
ass off at that.
I think you were the one who killed her, Miss Morimura.
Oh, that was
Like
great.
that one thing. Trust nobody, especially not yourself.
Yeah, right. The or like when it's revealed that he had like feelings for Miss Morimura, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I did not expect there to be like every character pairs off. I did not expect this to be as much of a romance sort of story.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
expected Yakushiji to sort of be it. Like I knew there was going to be at least some sort of like romantic pairing, but like literally everyone pairs off and have kids together except for the possibly gay, definitely bisexual man. The here's one of my notes. Shinzo Abe would be proud because
I mean,
they all make
They're
babies.
basically the Adam and Eves of the new world. Like
Yeah.
they gotta get to it.
They got to get to
Even if
work.
They have cloning. Like
Be
gotta
fruitful.
make
Go
an
forth and be
excuse.
fruitful.
and they're working on
Um,
getting like the AIs into the real world.
yeah.
Which is nice.
Which
because
I thought that
Miwako
was really
is a
cool.
sweetheart, and I was
They
really
need
really
to save
sad.
Miwa-chan.
We need to save Miwa. Do it for her.
Yeah, I love her so. She's so fucking perfect and kawaii.
Because I started
Precious.
playing this. I played Persona 5 Royal like a little bit before it, and I remember thinking like, wow, I don't really recognize like most of this cast. This is actually really cool because like you play enough anime games, you hear Hiro
Yeah.
Lowenthal, you hear Johnny
yeah.
Young Bosch, you hear
They
Karen
have like the
Strassman.
same 24
did we all play the
actors
dub?
across everything.
I played with the dub. Yeah,
We did the dub, right?
I did dub.
Yeah, it was awesome. It
it was
good.
it was a good dub, and like, but like, what was it when the game starts and like Miwako talks and it's like that's literally just Haru. So I was like, oh, okay.
You know what? Now that you mention it, of course it is.
It's
But
literally
I didn't
her.
pick up on that.
Yeah,
either.
I mean, I like her voice, so I'm not like complaining or anything. I just thought it was funny that I had this. I had this thought when I was playing Persona 5. It's like, oh, all these new people, not realizing that these are the people I'm going to be hearing for years now.
Mm-hmm. I love that she's also kind of chubby too, because you don't really get too many chubby anime girls.
I didn't really like
girls.
notice that until like I read her like description or whatever, where she's like she's self-conscious of her plump figure. I was like, she's
Which is
okay.
kind of bullshit because they
You
all
can-
go out to eat at the same places every single day.
Like,
The
wow, why am I not losing
AI
weight?
made her
hey,
fat.
Tomi, let's get 4 desserts today.
You
Yeah.
can kind of you
Have
can
you tried living in a health pod?
yeah, right. But no, I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she's good. There's one thing that we kind of glossed over that I wanted to bring up that is like there's a lot of like hidden like tragic stories that are like not super in the forefront, and like to me one of them is Goto and Shinonome, and like
Yeah.
so we were kind of saying how like every character pairs off, and
Yeah,
with them
they
like,
were together in like high school
In
or
middle
something.
school, yeah, because
Yeah,
they
in middle
mention it
school.
in the battle section.
and it's like it makes it hurt more that like she just in her current like or like a memory loss state just really hates him and like doesn't trust him,
Yeah.
and he's like also being like overprotective and like following her around. Like I think that
Yeah.
is just really sad.
They
Goto,
seem to
like-
they seem to make up in the epilogue at least.
Yeah, like Goto's like the most monotone character, but he's also the one that deals with the most like emotional stuff, ironically enough. And
He does
just
go.
doesn't
He
let-
goes through a lot.
Yeah, he just like doesn't let it bother him, I guess, or he doesn't show it outright. One thing that I thought was interesting, which I don't know if I just missed it, but when they mentioned at the end that Shinonome from 2188 was the reason all this shit happened.
Yeah,
Did they ever show 2188 Shinonome?
they do in I believe in Shinonome's story. Like early on, there's a part where I think Sekigahara meets up with. Or maybe, no, I think it was Natsuno. Natsuno meets up with her and gives her BJ, and BJ plays a log from 2188 where she pretty much declares that she goes full doomer and tries to kill everyone. I think...
Right, now that you mention it, I'm kind of remembering something like that. For some reason, I completely forgot about it.
I think it was, there... Because, like I said, that this game was in development hell. There was a question. I think there was something cut out. Like there was supposed to be more extrapolation on Shinonome in 2188, but I think it got cut out from the game for
That
time.
sucks, because that's
Same
like
with,
a really interesting part.
There was also apparently supposed to be a lot more stuff with Tamao Karabe than there was in the final game.
Oh yeah,
which-
like Tomao Karabe, like you have the 13 Sentinel pilots that all have official art, but then you have 2 other characters, Tomao Karabe and the
Okino?
younger
Okino?
Chihiro.
Oh,
Which I thought was
Morimura.
really weird because the older Morimura doesn't have any official art. Which you like
She doesn't?
they seem like a more
You think they would have wanted to
prominent
draw
character.
her? Because she's got the Vanillaware bod.
Yeah, even for marketing, like I have to say, when I first saw her, I was like, "Oh, are we doing this? Like, is this what we're going with this character?"
I expected this because
She
there's
doesn't
always
have a
there's always
single
one
non-distracting animation.
It's true.
This is a Vanillaware staple. The man, the guy at Vanillaware, he loves drawing them. He loves drawing them like that, like the sorceress
What is
from
it?
Dragon's Crown.
The sorcerer from Dragon's
Hell
Crown.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I know it's like it's a trope to even like comment on this, but like they are just fucking balloons. Like
Yeah.
those are 2 balloons that she puts in her chest.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I thought that was like one of the early Muramura being like Iori was probably one of the early like big plot revelations. That was one of those like, oh damn, like that was in plain sight the whole time. But like, I don't know, like Morimura is a character that I am so conflicted on, because at the end of the day, like, she was the good guy. Like, she's doing good, but when you're going through the story, she feels so, like, she feels like such an ominous presence.
Well, which Morimura are we talking about?
Yeah.
The elder one, I should say.
Yeah.
The one from the previous timeline.
Okay, yeah. That seems to be like a trend with all of the sort of quote-unquote antagonists of the game, is that, like, they seem worse than they actually are, except for Ida, who is definitely... he's probably like, the most clear-cut out of the villain
even
presences.
Ida seems to want to, like, try to restore humanity, but he's just, like, left out on certain things. Like, obviously, if it came between choosing his version of Kisaragi and the rest of humanity, then he would choose his version of Kisaragi. But
I think
he does genuinely try to fight for humanity.
Yeah, his goals. His goals are probably. I think what I should say is that his goals are probably the most selfish out of all of them. Even Ida is like, they're very human characters, ironically, but like, yeah, he just seems he's probably the worst out of all of them.
Yeah, much like a Studio Ghibli movie, there isn't like one clear antagonist. Like, it's kind of like the whole situation that these characters are thrown in, like, creates some characters that are acting more selfishly and some that aren't. Like, I think the not Spirited Away, the other one, Princess Mononoke. Like, that's one that, like, I can't point to one character being antagonistic, because like everyone is just kind of living their life, and like, I don't know. That's one movie that I always think about when I think of like, oh, there's no like antagonist.
Yeah, there's a lot of shades of gray in Princess Mononoke. Even if it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty much the humans, but they have their reasons. It's one of those sort of things.
It's because they kind of early on have this idea of, oh, Ida, it's this like shady sort of like FBI, even though it's Japan, guy that's like setting everything up.
Yeah,
Men in Black, yeah. And that's the other thing, like that whole theme of like the way that the media that you consume paints your reality, and like it makes you make these connections of like, okay, well, the Men in Black, like super shady, actually evil. And I mean, Ida is kind of an asshole and like selfish, as we said, but
can we talk about how Minami was actually right about BJ being an extraterrestrial?
Damn, she wasn't she?
That was like the one thing that I think maybe like blew my mind the most was when BJ, who was actually fucking Mirai, or what's his name?
Miura. You keep calling him Mirai.
I know. I always do this.
It's because you were watching. It's because you were watching Mirai Nikki before.
I think Mirai actually means future, so that's kind of fitting.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my stupid brain, was when I read his name, I was like, oh, that's like a cute little joke, and then my brain just got corrupted the whole time. But like the one moment when he's like, yes, Natsuno, you are the alien that they are talking about, and I was like, oh my god, like the characters aren't human, like they're aliens. I mean, they are human, but they're not like Earthlings.
Yeah. It's. I don't think we talked about Natsuno a lot, but I just want it very clear that Natsuno's great, and I like her a lot.
Natsuno's great. Yeah.
I know you said you said something in the DMs before we were starting this that you wanted to talk about her. So lead the way, Jim, and prepare to be put on the cross.
I don't know. I found myself like, initially I loved the Natsuno storyline, but I felt her to just be like, it just seemed weird. Like, she seemed like one of those characters that's like stupid for plot's sake. She's like, oh well, I'll just keep you in my gym locker and that won't be an issue, and it's like an issue every chapter.
The worst kept secret in the entire school.
It's mostly fine though. Like, it doesn't ever get taken from her because of that. I mean, Shinonome tries to, but BJ is smart, and he knows how to
fucking. It's really hard to like talk about everything because I haven't like combed the entirety of the story to see when events take place. But Takemiya does take BJ and uses it to show Ei Sekigahara the flashback. or not the flashback, his pre-recorded message. So like,
yeah,
he's at least moved and like taken from Natsuno. Then I don't know, like,
but we don't know.
To me,
if
Natsuno,
But I think that's also BJ moving around on his own, maybe.
Because
That's
at
true,
that point, we know BJ has agency. Like, at least in the beginning, Natsuno doesn't really... Like, we don't know... We, as people, don't know if this is... Like, what exactly that BJ is. And at that point, it's pretty obvious that BJ has his own goals. Not to say that, like, he's, like, sinister or anything.
Everyone feels sinister in the story, even like the other characters that you play as. Like,
Yeah,
you always feel like everyone has some secondary motivation, when in reality, everyone's like
they're all
pretty much
clueless.
good.
They have no idea
suffering.
what's happening.
Even Wajima.
Wajima.
Gets the shit beat out of him.
Oh, I love that one scene when at the very end where Wajima seems like he's kind of like he like actually does care about Nenji a little bit when he's like, dude, is something wrong with you? Like,
I thought there was going to be something more with Wajima. Like I thought there was going to be some sort of reveal with him in the Sekigahara story where he corners Fuyusaka.
Oh, I didn't. I thought he was just pure comic relief from the get-go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it turns out he was just
I feel like
cornering her to do bad things.
Him and Miwako exist purely to give us like some kind of attachment to the AI characters in the city.
Well, I have no attachment to Wajima.
Because like Miwako's the only one they care about when they come back.
Oh,
it's so sweet
invested
though.
in like getting everyone back because you don't know any of these characters' family in this universe. So
I'm so used to anime protagonists just having dead parents. When Fusaka just says like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna call my dad." I'm like, "Whoa, this character has like parents that are alive."
I think they almost all have parents.
Yeah, they do. It's just
Shude
like
is a deadbeat. No, he's rich, but he like just constantly goes out and like fucks around,
sleeps around. I guess is what
that. There's one line about that, and I forget what exactly it is. But
something about his.
Like,
he says
he's probably off with his mistress. Or
yeah.
Like that.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Now that we just brought up Shu, I do want to say, like, for me, the most heartbreaking thing in the whole fucking game is the last scene with Shu, where he is with Takamiya, and like they have this kind of like very unrequited relationship.
Yeah,
where,
they
like,
spat a bit.
He's super into Takamiya, and like she doesn't really care, and it's like, okay, well they pair up in like when they get out of the pods, and then like that one scene where he's like, they're talking to each other when they're back in the simulation, and Takamiya is like, "Oh, you said that comment about Shinonome," and then he like his expression is like the sad expression, and he's like, "I guess it's something with the brainwashing that did to me. Like I couldn't help it." Like, and then Takamiya is like mad at him, and I just like, oh, this poor boy has been like corrupted by all of the brainwashing, and he like can't even help it. And
I think that was kind of just like kind of playing it for laughs. I don't think he was actually like brainwashed. Like the brainwashing affected him that much. It's been like 5 years at this point. They've been married. I don't think it's as big as he's making it.
That's
out to
how
be.
I
think he was
interpreted
just
it.
Kind of being scummy.
But she like hates him. Like her reaction is like,
yeah,
I
but
very much
but
dislike
her
you.
saying
And then
that she
Natsuno
hates you
convinced
is
her.
like, come on.
And like Natsuno had to like convince her, like, hey, can you actually please spend some time with your husband? Like he has emotions, and he's even though he's fucked up, I guess. I don't know. That's an interesting take. Like I guess he is kind of like a bit of an ass, a bit of a womanizer, as you would say.
I think they're just going for like slightly sleazy and kind of like tsundere on their relationship. It's not
That's
really
what I
supposed to be sad in any way. I think it's just like
I think there is some sort of
they
merit
they
there,
love each
though,
other.
because
it saddened me.
Because Ida does have some sort of relationship with Shinonome, which, by the way, I wanted to mention this when
poor Shinonome.
That shit was like
section.
That was like really creepy. I did not expect. It's completely one-sided, but like I did not expect her to be I mean, like, she loves him, which is like really weird, and I didn't expect it at all. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah,
no,
it feels
that was
like
good to
really
bring up.
manipulative. which is,
It totally
this whole
is.
thing.
Which is another knock against Ito.
Shinonome is very much like a Theon Greyjoy kind of like loathsome character, but you can't help but love. Like,
I
don't
mean,
think
she
she's
doesn't do too
loathsome.
much that's loathsome. Like 2188, her does, but she
It's more so,
generally
like,
tries
pitiful.
to do the right thing, and she's just following people that she thinks is making the right decision.
You mostly just feel bad for her.
Yeah.
yeah, it's I really like her. Also, one thing that threw me off was we kind of already mentioned like why does certain characters have clothing in the pods? Like she has bandages in the pod.
Wait, does she?
I don't think
She
she
does.
does.
I'm
wait, no.
99% sure she
Is it
does.
part of
I'll
her
check.
skin?
She does in the you're right. She does in the pod. I'm pretty sure,
And
but
that's
in the
especially
does, yeah,
epilogue,
you
she
can see
she
it.
doesn't when they go back into the simulation.
Yeah. That might just be some sort of misdirect. I'm gonna look this up actually.
I think it is, yeah, because you can clearly see on her forehead and
Yeah,
also
because she's
her
like looking
torso.
down. I can like see it in my head, but I'm not sure.
Also, just to talk about that, I love all of the little like cockpit portraits.
Yes.
Even though some of them
they're
were
really
stupid. Some of the girls ones. are like, oh, yeah,
As
we
soon as
wanted to
I
get
saw
a
the
pod in
the
here.
Fuyusaka one, I was like, "Yep, it's this, yeah, here we are." I think hers is probably the most compromised, but Kisaragi's is probably a close second. Most of the other ones
Yeah, I
are
was thinking
fairly
Kisaragi.
modest. The guys obviously are better off, but you know.
Although I really like the ones that you don't see as much, but when they're outside the cockpits,
Oh, like when they're in their civilian clothes. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
those.
those are
That's
really
such a
good
great
too. But you
detail.
really don't see them often because it's only when they're brain overloaded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a really great detail. Like, there's so many little details like that could have been just easily overlooked. Like, oh, just use the same sprite, but no, they made like a different sprite.
Oh my
For
god,
their
they do
civilian.
like full animations for all the attacks that just appear in the bottom right
That I barely
when
pay
you're
attention
hovering
to.
over it, and that's it.
And like I think that's so clever because rather than have to like animate it in like all these different like locations, they do it one time. So you see that animation and then you associate that animation with the attack.
Yeah.
So that in your brain mind palace, like you're able to imagine, oh yeah, and then a billion missiles come out of Yakushiji's
Right.
butt.
It
Like,
does feel
visualizes
really
the
good.
battle really well, but it doesn't take that much or as much as it could.
Yeah, okay, I wanted to say one thing about costumes. Why is Natsuno gotta wear booty shorts all the time?
Oh, she just got back from track.
But like, she knows what she's doing. Like, let's be real.
No, like you see the official art. They absolutely had an intention with that design.
It's
I mean,
plot,
like,
guys.
yeah, you
It's
open the
plot
game.
important. Okay, if she doesn't wear the booty shorts, then Miura won't have the reactions to it. It's
You're not wrong, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually kind of right.
I
Facts
love
and
the
logic
fish
win
out of water
again.
stuff with Miura.
all the official art's really good.
Yeah, it's a good
really
video game.
like I really like the style that they go for with it.
Did you all get like physical copies, or did you guys just like download it?
Just
I
download it.
have a downloaded copy.
So the physical edition, it comes with a little art book.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Of
Fuck.
it has like the main character portraits for all the 13 like main characters, and like some like the like in-game portraits or models of them, and it has art of the first through fourth generation Sentinels with it too. It's pretty
Damn.
It's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
I wish I went for the physical now.
Yeah, really. I was just like, I'm super inspired by the art style and like just like the character portraits even more so. I do a bit of art here and there, and I really like what's worked. I think the best with me, like finding a style, is I love that kind of like painter, like more so like digital painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like super inspired by these designs, and I've tried so many times to sit down and be like, I want to draw yeah, what's her name, Takamiya, and just being like, damn, how do they do it?
Yeah, you should definitely take a look at the some other Vanillaware games. Especially, I think Muramasa, the Demon Blade, would probably wow
one
you
that's
the
like,
most.
Japanese art styled, right?
Yep. The only
totally
problem is that it was only released on the Wii and the Vita. So, unfortunately, unless you can dig out your Vita, you will have to play the game in like standard definition, which is a goddamn shame. They definitely need to like port this game. Not.
Oh, that sucks.
It's just Vanillaware is how many employees do they have? Yeah, they have like 29 employees. So you know
That's
that like
really
meme,
impressive, actually.
that meme
I know nothing
with,
about Vanillaware, so this is all like insane to me.
They have like the small. They had like that meme like a little while ago when like the new Pokemon game was coming out, where everyone was calling Game Freak small indie company. Well, Vanillaware is literally small indie company.
I believe didn't they brand like they're a spin-off of Atlas originally? Like some of the employees originally worked at Atlas.
They
And then
I know they
started their
work
own
with
company.
Atlas a lot.
Yeah,
Atlas
I know
is like
Atlas
their main
publishes
publisher.
most of their games, but I think like some of the developers that started the company originally came from Atlas too.
I believe it. Yeah. It seems like the head writer George Kamitani, who wrote 13 Sentinels and also like most of all the other Vanillaware games, seems he worked at Capcom for a while, Sega and whatnot, and I guess eventually just started his own company along with a couple other guys.
I'd heard, I don't have like any official sources. Oh, actually, wait, no, I think I did find some. I heard that the game sold very poorly.
I've heard both. I've heard conflicting things about it. I think
I wouldn't be surprised of either, to be honest, if it was a success or if it was a failure.
Oh, wait, okay, actually, sorry. This is like, I guess the most recent I could find. Atlas did say that it exceeded their sales expectations, so
I don't expect this game to sell like a like Persona
feels
levels.
like a 200K game.
Yeah, I think that I think if it reached that level, I'm sure they'd be satisfied with it.
It's one of those games where like I'm super happy that I spent like what $60 on it.
Yeah,
just knowing like that I feel like that's totally worth it. Kind of like with Hades, like for me, Hades has just been like my favorite game of the year, and that was like
I'm really scared to
$40.
get into Hades because I'm afraid I'll lose like hundreds of hours.
Yep,
I've
put
lost
like
200
70
hours
hours
to Slay the Spire.
It's Hades. I mean, I could just fucking go off on Hades, but that game, like they found like the greatest hook ever for a roguelike, which is make a story. So like there's all these little crazy things that keep you invested. Like every time you talk to a character, you get like something new, or like there's always a new dialogue happening. And there's all these little touches too, like when you beat your current record, so if you only make it to like floor 3 and then you make it to 4, Zagreus will be like, wow, this is farther than I've ever been. And I'm just like, whoa!
Yeah, everyone was praising the sheer like volume of voice lines in Hades. Like no one has heard like 2 same lines after playing for God knows how long. Very impressive.
Yeah, I've put 70 hours in. I've beaten it like 16 times. There's still like so many stories I haven't finished yet. Adore that game. But yeah, 13 Genitals. Also a good game.
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim job, bro. Let's go. More like poop.
More like Aegis Yakashi's tits.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm up top.
Slap.
Let's go. What a great game.
Okay, who haven't we talked about? I'm sure there is. I mean, we haven't actually really talked about Tomi too much. And for me, Tomi, as like, at least early on, I feel like Tomi was a character that was in like everyone's story. And she felt like a really important character. I like Tomi a lot.
I really didn't expect Tomi and Ogata to be involved so much in each other's storylines because like Tomi appears so much in other characters' storylines, and she was one of the last ones I did, I think, along with Ogata. So when I went into their stories, like they're suddenly major parts of each other's stories, and like you never get that impression from the other appearances they have.
Mm-hmm.
because they're never together in those.
It kind of
And I
sneaks
found that
up
really
on you.
interesting. Tomi
It's-
was one that I like put off a lot, and I don't know why, but I ended up really liking her. Like she just has like a certain attitude to her that like it's interesting.
Yeah,
She's also a content creator. Hashtag relatable.
yeah, right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to her Inaba Rabbit channel for more song covers or something. She's like a TikTok star.
Basically, yeah. Could you imagine, like when you're an adult, like you're married to your wife, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, you know me? I was ThoughtSlayer69 commenting in every video you posted."
Oh my god.
Like you were
Was
Thought Slayer
like
the whole time? Yes, it was me, Tetsuya Ida. To be continued.
Furious Redditor.
Yeah,
Tetsuya Ida, Furious Redditor.
yeah, I got a check mark. So what?
Although I gotta say, 2025, that's only like 5 years into the future. Why, like, some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that she talks of that long ago. I know what a pompadour
I don't
is.
know, man. I mean, have you talked to like a kid recently? They know, but they also she
If you
also
could pry him from their iPhone.
she also phone bad exactly, but she's also from her perspective she's literally traveled back in time. Seeing is believing, right? It's something. It's one thing to read about it. It's another thing to actually live it.
Okay, speaking of the pompadour thing,
Yeah.
speaking of the pompadour thing, did you guys unlock the one mystery log for Dogface?
No.
It's like a slang term.
Oh
yes.
Oh, I
in
did. I
Japan.
did.
It was like
unlock that.
Yeah,
That was
it was
funny.
the way that they describe it. It's like a very specific, like language pun-based insult that Ogata said to her that like doesn't really translate, and they explain that in the thing. They're like, well, like according to blah blah blah, and I thought that was really funny. I was like, damn.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I guess you know dogs. Yeah, I did think it was funny. Some of the I think one of the mystery logs or whatever, I don't remember which one. It just like has an explanation for honorifics at the end of it. Like like if you don't know what a senpai is, they explain it to you. Which I thought was funny.
Casual.
Yeah, exactly. Well, come on, let's be honest here. I know what a senpai is. I wasted my mystery
No, it does.
point.
Like, no.
Yeah, there were a few that legitimately did like early on help connect some pieces, which that is like I think the coolest thing about this game is like it's hard to like talk about spoilers in the game because certain things are quote unquote spoiled in certain characters' stories when they're like, as I think Aeon, you said it earlier, like you had the one thing like you hadn't seen the BJ reveal yet.
Yeah.
When I had seen that, like, oh, I knew that was that character, so when I saw that, it made sense. So it creates like not infinite, but like so many different ways to experience the story for the first time, and that is like kind of unheard of.
Right,
I
I said, it's like a story version of a Zelda dungeon, essentially. Like, you have a bunch of keys that access different things, and one of them is the Exterminator event, which unlocks every door for some reason. But, you know...
It does, yep. That
also, like, I love that you're okay. I finished the story for Tomi, and then it's like, you cannot continue until you watch Takashiji's Victims of Poison Gas.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, what's
like,
gonna happen in that?
Some of these names are just like, all right, this one I kind of get an impression of what's going to happen. This one I have no idea, and I'm scared to ask.
It's some of them after I finished like the scenario, like with the Exterminator event, I didn't even realize that was the Exterminator event
It's
until
like Terminator, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
I was like,
I feel like they mentioned that early on, that Exterminator is basically Terminator, but
yeah.
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 I know that these are like really hacky videos, but I would totally eat up if someone just did like every reference in 13 Sentinels and they just connected. Because I'm
People
sure
would
there's
have
a couple
trouble
that I've
like
missed.
even getting all of them at once. Like it seems like every single fan sci-fi under the sun has been referenced in it.
Like
Like,
I said, yeah, like
It's the
has everything.
most like what's the term? Pastiche.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this entire game is just like one giant pastiche.
And yet the characters are still able to come through and like they feel like their own thing. Like,
It does, yeah. It feels
Yeah.
like its own thing.
like even though a character like Yakushiji is like very clearly supposed to be like Homura from Madoka, like they
Yeah.
do enough with
It's
her.
like a mix of original Madoka and Homura. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's they just do enough with these characters to like really make them feel like their own thing. Like I think she's
They
like
get
the
a
one
bit
example that
too
comes to mind.
tropey in some regards, like just
Yeah.
to establish a character that like you immediately endear to.
Yeah,
Like the yakisoba pond thing, I love it, but it borders on
It-
parody.
yeah.
does.
It's a meme. It's a meme for a reason. Same with the hamburger thing, but even less so. Maybe
Although
it's
like
not,
that one
because Miura has
scene,
so much else going on.
where he has like 3 of them in his hand.
That
and
was
he's
so
just, like-
funny. That was so. He's
that
just
was
like,
amazing.
it's like
I
I'll do
love
whatever
that.
I want, you know. And then he just comes back and he just has like, like 4 yakisoba pans. I was like, all right,
And
this
the
is sick.
only
You know what?
thoughts in his head are
Hijiyama's my
yakisoba
favorite.
pans.
Hijiyama's my favorite character. I don't know what I was saying. Sorry, Ogata. It's Hijiyama now because I just remembered that scene.
I mean, yeah, we've all been there. We've all been to a new place and we've discovered that delicious street food. Like, I used to live in Austria. I studied abroad in Austria for a year, and when I discovered Leberkäse, damn, I fucking had Leberkäse all the time. Delicious.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm just saying if I was in a Vanillaware game, my gimmick would be, oh, Leberkäse. Eating that all the time.
That's another thing with Vanillaware games is that they draw food good.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's just hilarious when you see like all the girls. They'll go out and they'll be like, "Oh, let's get some crepes," and
My
then they
God,
eat the
the
crepes in like
massive
2
crepes
bites.
and
Yeah, it's
ice
like
cream.
2 bites.
Yeah,
It's like the size of their
Hilarious.
head.
Ugh, I wish.
and you can keep talking to them and looping around and eat crepes forever.
Yeah, it's perfect. I don't know why they wanted to get out of that simulation. You could eat infinite crepes and not gain any weight. I mean, come on.
I love how like some of the storylines are they're just like linear paths, and you go back to like the same scenario often, but every time you go through it, it's a different thing. But
Feels very comfortable.
yeah, and then like in certain other scenarios, it brings you back to the same main like point in time,
Yeah,
and you have like a different slew of options, like Kurabe's story.
Yeah.
that took me a
uh,
bit to get the hang
it's-
of.
Yeah, you really have to use the you
fast
press
forward
square and then
feature?
you see like all the branching timelines.
Oh, I use that a lot too.
Yeah.
It was-
that was really important for puzzle solving, I think.
It was just hard to It was hard. It was hard to like parse the timeline in my head because it's like, all right, so they're doing like the same thing every day, or what's
Mhm.
the deal?
And I think that was like kind of intentional because there's some times when, like, I know for sure it's in Kaito. I'm going to say his
Kitaro.
first name because I know if I say his last name, I'll mess it up.
But you got
Um,
it wrong too. It's Keitaro, not Kaito.
Jeez. Okay, it's Mira, Mirai, whatever. One of the times in his
Hat
story,
Man.
one of the times in his story, you see Natsuno return from a time travel, and you remember from like a previous encounter playing as Natsuno what happens, but something different happens. And like I remember this happening a few times where the game seemed to like set up a scenario that I'd already experienced, but then it would subvert that, and then it would be like, oh, go into something completely different, or like
Yeah.
even just the perspective of being that character changes things.
It's cool, yeah. It does.
Yeah.
It manages. I remember hearing someone say that like they were impressed. Oh.
Oh, he's back. Are you there?
I hope
Yes.
you weren't talking the whole time.
I said like one thing. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Or I remember hearing someone say that like they were worried that the plot lines were going to what's the word, like crossover like too much, so you see a bunch of repeated scenes. But that doesn't really
like
happen
4
too
scenes
much.
like that.
Yeah.
And it feels good. Like,
it does.
It doesn't feel like wasted time. It feels like awesome.
It feels like those sort of like moments where you're able to piece them together in the timeline, so they're necessary in a way.
Especially since in a lot of scenarios like that, they often end on cliffhangers, and other stories continue it without the cliffhanger.
Yes.
Like I think Minami and Mira's first meeting is like that.
Yeah, that was really cool because I remember doing Natsuno's first, so I knew like, or no, sorry, I did Mira's first, so like I knew that it ends with like, oh, a character recognized, and then you do Natsuno's, and it's like, oh, we do all this stuff with like you meet Karabe, the grandma Karabe for the first time, and like, yeah, it's good. It's a good game, and I enjoy. I like the writing a ton. I'm so impressed by it. I just kept finding myself impressed by the game.
Yeah, pretty much the entire game is just like, it's so tightly written, and it's just amazing. Like, it doesn't feel like there's dead air at all throughout the entirety of it, besides maybe some of Iori's stuff.
Vote for it at the Game Awards. It's the best narrative this year. Vote for it at the Game Awards.
This game is going to get so snubbed at the Game Awards, no one's going to vote for it.
Ugh.
It didn't even get Best Art Direction.
I think it's most deserving of winning, so...
Yeah, really. I mean, that's the problem with games like this. Like, it's kind of, they're so niche, but...
I'm honestly shocked that it even got nominated. I don't think it even got
nominated for art direction.
It didn't. Ugh. Which is fucked up!
It's funny, because, like... As I said, like, I don't know how you guys found out about it, but I found out about it through Castle Super Beast, and Pat was talking about it like every week, and then Wooly started playing it, and the only other place I heard about it was there's another podcast that I listen to called what's it called? The Besties, and it's like, if you know the McElroys, it's two of them, and they have like a video game podcast, and like one of the guys made them all play, at least start playing it on that for like the topic of that week, and it was just like weird to hear like normal people talking about 13 Sentinels. Like,
I think it's one of those games that that like the people who like it really like it, and it's going to be one of those games where
it's going to be a cult classic.
Yeah, for sure. If not more. There was an interview. You guys know who Yoko Taro is, right?
Yeah.
The Nier guy.
Love him. Like Dragon Garden stuff.
Yeah,
love the man.
He had an interview where he was talking about 13 Sentinels.
Really?
Yeah. Hang on. I have to read the quote verbatim because it's very Yoko Taro. So
also, I think there was like a award ceremony hosted by Japanese developers, which 13 Sentinels got like an award.
It seems to be like an industry like favorite over there. Like people really love it.
That's awesome. Do you have the quote ready?
Yeah. Yoko Taro, I think you must buy this game. The reason for that is, in order to keep the existence of this Japanese national treasure of a company known as Vanillaware, they must sell as many copies as possible. I don't care whether games of other companies sell, and I really wouldn't care at all if Atlas were to go under. However, Vanillaware games are the one thing we can't lose in Japan, so let's all buy 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
He don't miss.
He really doesn't.
He's never wrong. He's always right.
Hang on.
That is such a Yoko Taro fucking energy.
I don't care if Atlas goes under. That's great.
What came to mind when I played was that Vanillaware games tend to have a bunch of sexy or cute girls, so I had the impression that there are more male fans, but this time around with 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, I think there's a more mysterious sex appeal to it that women might like. It's also something he said. Yeah. You know what? I'm inclined to agree.
Oh, that's great.
It's a good mystery story.
Sentinels, a game for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you got your sex appeal
that even women can enjoy.
Yeah, you got your Bishi boys, you got your Sekigaharas, you got your Gotos. There's really...
Maybe that's why I don't like Sekigahara that much, because I'm not like a fangirl for Sekigahara.
I mean, everyone's just gonna come here for Takamiya regardless of who they are.
Yes. That's so funny. Actually, I've started playing Final Fantasy 14 recently, and it's almost not. I'm not going to say it's entirely because of the Nier DLC, but that's a big factor. There's like all this like post game like Nier content that is apparently canonical with Nier Automata. So,
Bringing Yoko Taro in his canon stage plays.
oh damn, that is one thing that I've always wanted to like. I wish that we had more stage plays like that, because I've very jealously looked at all of the Persona stage
Oh my
plays.
god,
and
those
like,
Persona stage plays look so ridiculous.
there's like Persona 3 is like my favoriteest Persona. And actually, check out this guy TectonicImprov has a really good video on Persona 3. But
Thank you.
they have this Persona. There's a video of like one of the scenes from the Persona 3 stage play, and it's like all of the characters in the labyrinth or whatever it's called in that game. I forget. They're all like running, and they're like running in formation, but they're all running as like the characters, and it's the absolute funniest thing I've ever seen. Like they're running in place as the characters. It's wonderful.
I saw a scene from I think the P4 stage play where like whenever they summon a persona, they would actually like simulate a real battle. And just like it would just flash official art across a screen, and it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like,
and it's an audience of like 10 people. Like
yeah.
Japan is so weird. They have like all these like fucking idol shows just happening like literally underground, like under the streets, like all the time. There's like the audience is like so small. You can put like 10 people in there.
The under theater.
So yeah, needless to say, if they ever make a 13 Sentinel stage play, I'm booking a flight. I'm gonna be front row center. I'm gonna be finding the Takamiya actress. I'm gonna
the Takamiya actress, asking for her number, getting my ass
gonna give
kicked.
her a big bouquet. Yeah.
And you can they just have like half of it that's just the actual video capture of the strategy section.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just watch someone play the fights.
What was I want to go back to the fights for a second, because I want to know what everyone's dominant strategy was at the end of the game. Because mine interceptors, yeah, I figured that out near the end. I also basically my strategy was spam interceptors, spam sentry guns, and then let the first gen Sentinels go ham.
The game.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The sentry guns are so good.
They are so broken, and the fact that like I placed at least like 12 one time, like I don't know if they cap you on how many sentry guns.
I think if they cap you, they actually tell you that you're capped, but most of the time you can just keep going.
Because like there's an ability that you get later too with Shinonome where you can
when you
put a sentry.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you put two sentries down.
It's messed up.
For me, the one kind of I don't want to call it game breaking, but it was like pivotal strategy was I think it's called like the Demolisher Blade or something. It's like
that's all I did. Interceptors and Demolisher Blade.
Yeah.
Interceptor, Demolisher Blade. I didn't even use Gen 3s the entire time.
Yeah, well actually so early
the Gen 3s had the railgun though.
Gen 3s have some cool abilities like the
missile rain.
Missile rain and
missile rain is like
super
and
missile or whatever it's called.
They have the
But why even bother if they don't have Demolisher Blade or Interceptors?
Yeah, you will lose, or you won't have fun at least.
They have the chaff grenade thing. What the fuck is it? The one that deactivates everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
EMP
was pretty helpful.
Stunner. Yeah, thank you. The EMP grenade. Those things were really useful. But yeah. I mean, first gen.
Limiter removal.
Oh my god!
Is
I never did that.
Ability that I started using simply because it is called limiter removal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that card in Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's also just it's the classic trope, right? You know, like in Metal Gear Rise,
heavy armor.
Turn off my pain inhibitors. To go even further beyond.
I need to go all out. This is my final form.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool, and you just like you cut through everything like fucking butter through a hot knife. It's so cool.
For a
Yeah,
game about called 13 Sentinels, there wasn't that much focus on the mecha part.
No, which
No, not really.
honestly, for me, that is like the ideal mecha. Like, I feel the
The
same way about
ideal
like
mecha
kaiju
is where there are
flicks.
no mecha.
Honestly,
I watch mecha anime for the characters.
I feel the same way about like kaiju flicks too, because like I've seen a lot of my buddy's like the biggest Godzilla fan I know. He's seen all of them. He's made me watch like half of them. If I can't get hooked on the story, then like fuck you. Like I can't enjoy just seeing like one of the more boring ones where it's just like Godzilla just like walking around. Like I need the hook. I need like for me like the perfect example, and it's pretty much just Evangelion. Is they did like these Mecha Godzilla movies in the late '90s. I think it's called it's hard to talk about Mecha Godzilla because they're all just called Mecha Godzilla versus or whatever.
Terror of Mechagodzilla, is it? No, that's the
maybe
70s one.
It's the one where basically they make like the Mecha Godzilla a like mech suit that like humans pilot, and that is like mwah, like this is what I want from a kaiju film. Give me the human drama. The humans are piloting Mechagodzilla outside of Mechagodzilla, but the bones inside the suit have made Mechagodzilla go evil.
Yeah, that's the 90s one, I'm pretty sure.
What's that one quote? There's no story worth telling except for the one of
with giant
the human
robots.
heart in conflict with itself.
Deep.
Yeah. Or there's no story worth telling without giant robots is the other one, I think.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, I believe that's from Megas XLR.
I actually tried to revisit that and I wasn't a fan.
I haven't seen it in forever. I remember
don't know.
liking it a lot as a kid.
I appreciate what it did for the Western mecha fandom, but
I like that he has a button for everything.
It's great. But when I think of like my peak sort of like mecha, it's like something like Ava where the fights are over in like a second. And that's what I kind of liked about 13 Sentinels. It was like once you leveled your thing up, you were able to kill a thing in like one hit. And that feels more realistic than just like kind of like big two robots, like Rock'em Sock'em robots, like hitting each other a million times.
Like Mazinger or whatever.
Yeah, just like having an instant fight. And then...
Although something about a laser beam doing less damage than a giant saw blade is odd.
Yes. Well, if the railgun did armor piercing, then the game would be over, I suppose.
Oh, pretty much. But then again, it would be a railgun with armor piercing. And maybe that's worth breaking the game balance.
I would just only use third gens. I already use the railgun so much, but yeah, that'd be even better.
Yeah, I think like the whole combat, like the RTS tower defense stuff, I really enjoyed. I honestly like I could see myself in a different life getting super into that. If that was fleshed out in its own game, I could see myself like getting really into it. But it's kind of just designed to be like a palate
Super
cleanser.
Robot Wars series or something like that is basically the same thing. I might be wrong though.
It's more turn-based. Super Robot Wars. It's more like Fire Emblem. In that sense, there's another Vanillaware game called Grim Grimoire, which is like a side-scrolling RTS. Was it Matthew Matosis made a video on it a few months ago? I'd never even heard of that game. I'd never even heard of Grim Grimoire before then, and I like know Vanillaware. I think they made it like the same year Odin Sphere came out.
I think next thing I'm doing after this is just playing a bunch of Vanillaware games.
Same.
Yeah, get the Odin Sphere remaster for the PS4, because that's it's an action RPG, but
I'll check it out.
It's their first big game.
That'll be our next podcast. I'm super psyched because I mean with the title like Odin Sphere, I guess it's Norse mythology based, and like
yep.
I love Norse mythology, so
all mythologies are great.
Oh hell yeah. Alright, is there anything that we haven't really there's one last thing that I actually have like two things that I'm kind of saving. I think I'll just bring up the one now. So as far as a criticism, the one thing that I think is kind of awkward is the endings of some of the stories. Because like
I was really surprised they didn't all end with the start animation.
Yeah, totally.
That confused me too.
We have a story like Nenji's, which is like this super focused, like basically all of it takes place in the same location, and then like we have to suddenly the end of his story has to suddenly jump into the final battle. Like, I understand from like a writing standpoint the challenge there, but when I was going through it, I expected every ending to be like, okay, it's going to be like a perfect transition into the final battle, but they really didn't.
I think that just wasn't feasible in a lot of cases. Like, I can't think of how you would do Ninja's thing and then transition over to the final battle without making it jarring.
It might have been it might have been just another victim of the cuts done to the writing.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I could have seen like each story could have gone longer. I think in terms of like setting up, because I really, as you said, like I thought that each one was going to end with them getting their Sentinel, and I thought that was going to be like, because it's when I played each prologue, it seemed like every character was like, whoa, what is a Sentinel? Like, I'm inside this thing? What the hell?
Yeah.
So I thought we were gonna get like more of a natural, but from like a utility standpoint, like you can see a character like Yakushiji, very much like with Goto, these are like utility, like they're kind of setting up important things in the story rather than like themselves having a compelling like character hook, whereas like Natsuno or a what's his name? Hijiyama. Like these are like compelling character hooks rather than like for the plot, like learning about plot contrivances and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just the one. I don't know if you guys had any like criticisms or anything that you would levy at the game.
No, it's perfect. There's literally no problems with it. It's the parts about the parts where I got stuck, it was a little obtuse sometimes. I'm trying to think of like trying to see if I can find any sort of like big brained like plot holes, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I think there's the outside the city boundaries that we mentioned before might be one.
Maybe.
I
will say like I didn't quite grasp like universal control and the
they're very vague about universal control.
Yeah.
Like, it all we really know about it is that that's the purpose of the giant UFO that's underground.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for some reason, despite being an AI program, has a physical presence inside of a virtual world.
That's fine, I guess.
The intention might have been for the actual, like, the clones to be able to interact with it in some form. Though
maybe it's like
it's
a
weird.
failsafe.
It might be. I mean, it ended up needing a failsafe, so I guess.
Another thing I was sort of confused on was why they couldn't loop for another time.
Oh yeah.
I don't maybe it's something somewhere in a mystery log, or I might have just missed it. But I don't.
It was just a matter of I think they would loop another time, but the Sector 0, as they called it, all the characters that essentially progress to a next loop as AI would just be wiped. And I'm not entirely sure what the explanation for that was, but like it would still be a loop, but essentially all these characters would be erased.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, they bring that up a lot early on of like the whole idea, like Tetsuya Ida's plan to like just do it again and like not let the Aegis project happen. But then the characters start to say, oh no, but we can't do this. Like this is the last time. And then that's kind of not mentioned again near the end. It's like Ida is still just trying to do it, and he doesn't seem to know that there's a problem with him trying to do it again. So I guess there's not like,
we can't go through with Operation Aegis. But Ida, the game is called Aegis Rim.
Looks like someone hasn't played the game yet. Jeez.
Cringe.
Yeah, I think those
coming back as an android is the most ridiculous shit.
Oh, are you talking about at the end of Sekigahara's story?
Yeah, Ida, when like they're like he comes back as an android and he takes a hostage. I think it's Iori.
Yeah, he does.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That part was cool.
It was just like,
it
let's
makes
give A
sense because
Sekigahara an
he's
epic
been
moment.
constantly transforming people into androids, but like it's something really funny about negotiating with an android. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially like the ones as they're designed in 13 Sentinels.
The scene where Ida revives Kisaragi as an android was like really creepy.
That yeah, like there's a really unsettling undertone to their whole relationship, which is why I'm not entirely content with the epilogue from Ida's perspective.
Yeah. It's fucked.
Especially since like at the back of my mind this entire time, like they're doing all these callbacks to different sci-fi properties, and I'm just thinking, okay, it's like I'm thinking of this whole thing from the perspective of like consciousnness transfer, but like Soma-esque in who is really the person when you transfer a consciousness.
They talk about that in the game because like the thing that happens, because that happens to Okino, is that like his personality is technically not the same one. It's an AI reconstruction, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same. But there is like
separate people technically because it was reconstructed.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like a human like knee-jerk reaction that like even if because I'm pretty sure Sekigahara like resists it even because like Okino like offers, I believe it's him, to like reconstruct his mind with AI, and he doesn't want to do it because there's almost because it's you, but it's also not.
Yeah.
So and that's just like a interesting comment on like transhumanism in general.
Okino is so down on it too. Like the way he talks about it, he's like, it'd be better. It's like you, but better. And then A is just like, no.
It's like, no. It's like,
I was expecting them to talk about it more because of the whole thing where like the entire city is AI and they're planning on transferring everyone to real bodies and stuff like that. Which the idea of like AI being transferred to a real body is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's technically what Okino is.
I mean, technically, that's what humans are. Like,
that's what all of them are,
really
I guess.
Complex, AI, but
whoa,
yeah.
they're all AI in like clone bodies. Even the main characters. Yeah, I forgot about that.
This is fucking me up, guys.
Technically, the only real people in this scenario are the kids that they have.
Whoa.
Well, can you be a flesh and blood human child if you were birthed from an AI? I guess.
If the AI is a flesh and blood human.
They do talk about how like human race is extinct, but you will be I think it's in Kurabe's or Tamao Kurabe's like message at the end of the game where it's like you won't be human, but you will spread the like a new race or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it's human cloning essentially. They technically are humans, but there's been like a 2 billion year gap where no humans have existed. So
this is gonna sound kind of silly, but like I just realized now, like they're all Japanese, so it's like
Shikishima is a Japanese company, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense, but it's like kind of funny. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, as you said, like just all of humanity going forward is just now Japanese.
Woo! Much, yeah.
As Japan would probably want.
Yeah. Japan did it again. Oops. That was my chair.
Yeah, the ending is like has some really interesting implications. I have to ask now though. Did you guys see the secret ending?
What?
I have no idea what you're referring to.
There's a secret ending?
So, when I beat the game, for whatever reason, I like went back into... Because you know how like when you go into the analysis, there's like...
You're cutting out.
Oh, sorry.
Vanillaware doesn't want you to know. It doesn't want us to know the secret ending.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go back and... You know how analysis has like two things? Like there's like the mystery log of items and then there's like the timeline?
Yeah, the timeline. Yeah.
So if you look at the timeline, they show the very last scene, like the scene where... Izumi and Morimura like revert back to their kid forms, and I like cried at that scene because I love that scene so much.
It's cute.
but there's one entry log after that appears, that like it's so bizarre because it adds almost nothing, and it is honestly more confusing that it even exists. So it is kind of like a recreation of like one of the first scenes that we see where so first off it shows Earth and then it like zooms out from Earth and then zooms onto like another planet and it shows like billions of years past. Yeah, it's only like a minute or so long. And then it shows like our characters in the city, and then it's Natsuno and Nenji. And Nenji is just like, oh shit, kaiju are attacking. And then Natsuno is like, oh no. And then it ends. And then it's just like, so is this supposed to be like another timeline that we're seeing? Is this... It just...
That sounds
I think it's
like,
really bizarre.
History repeating itself kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just... I think its inclusion is really weird. And it's weird that they don't tell you, because like, normally when games have like a... Not like a super secret, but like when there's more content that people want you to experience, there'll be like a message or something. But
yeah,
it's just one cutscene that doesn't do much.
It's really odd.
Interesting.
14 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
14 Sentinels Pacific Rim. Oh, crossover.
Oh, I'm in. That sounds so sick.
Upvote. But yeah, I'm honestly more baffled by this than satisfied.
Interesting.
But about the ending, I think we should maybe, because I think I don't really have anything else to say. Actually, okay, no, sorry. This is just me rambling. We didn't really talk about Ei Sekigahara too much as his own character. We mentioned him tangentially a lot, but like, what do we think of Ei Sekigahara?
It was interesting with Ei Sekigahara because when I first started his story, for some reason I wasn't really interested, even though his probably has the most intriguing hook. I guess I just don't really... I didn't really care for the whole, like, amnesia storyline. I don't know why. But, like, as I did more other stories, his got more interesting to me. And overall, I ended up really liking it.
He is future Trunks.
He's Guy Pearce from Memento. Have you two seen Memento?
I have not seen Memento, so that's.
I've seen Memento. Wait, I don't remember Guy Pearce in Memento.
He's the main character.
Oh wait. Oh shit. I know what you're talking about now. I thought I was thinking of Fight Club for a second.
Oh,
and being a dumbass.
No, that's Juro. Juro is Juro's Fight Club.
Oh, Juro is Fight Club. Oh my god. It's really funny that scene when Juro started fighting people for no reason, and then he said, "Hey, don't talk about it."
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. But yeah, no. Basically, yeah. Same with more so Shinonome, honestly, because like, the whole thing with Memento Aeon. I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of it, but like,
I have.
The whole gimmick is like the main character he has short-term memory loss, so he forgets everything
after like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Which honestly, I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
All I really know about Memento is Dream Within a Dream and the
that's Inception.
That's Inception.
Same director, though.
I am not thinking of the right thing.
Go rent a copy. Go to your nearest Blockbuster, rent a copy of Memento. And enjoy.
Hey, it's me, your friend, Cute Toshiba. Here, watch this movie. It's a real cult classic. It's called Memento. See you around, buddy.
And then Aeon sees me slowly fade away in digital code as I never existed.
I run into you to stop your storyline because you know too much.
Hey, Tech, how is that video game machine operating on its own?
Bye. That did throw me for a loop when you got to that part in Amiguchi's story, and it's the same.
I really wish that I didn't progress through Karabe's story further first, because seeing that scene from the perspective of Shu first would have made the whole thing like so like what the hell is happening.
I should have expected it more because like the prologue with Karabe, like something is up with with Shiba. Like, he has that line, but I forgot about that part. I just remembered
I
that
thought
like
he was
something
involved
was up
with the
with him.
Sentinel project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I it just took me so long to get back to Kurabe's story, so I
There's
like,
so much.
forgot.
This is an entire game based on like learning new things about the characters and the world, and it just throws so much misdirection that you make so many false assumptions.
Yeah.
When in reality, like it's pretty like simple what's going on, but
It's just the way
you
it's
get
told.
thrown so much misinformation that you like don't even realize it till the end.
Okay, I hadn't actually thought about this until just this moment, but like, it's really interesting that Shiba is forcing Juro to go to Shu's house. Like, it seems like because he keeps saying like, "Oh, I want to go there and play video games." Like, it seems like he's intentionally trying to make them like interact.
Well, I think he was also feeding memories to Shu, wasn't he?
No. He was feeding memories to Kurabe.
Who
he
did-
was
Shu received the the Ida dreams from then.
They were the memory flashbacks.
Yeah, I
But
think they
he's
were-
not actually connected to Ida because
He is.
Ida's from a previous loop.
He is
No, but
he is Tetsuya Ida. He's just he's just like the future reincarnated version of him or whatever, who has
Right, but
like
then there's no reason why he would have Ida's memories.
Yeah, we do see a scene.
Juro only
one of
has
his dreams.
Izumi's memories because he's being fed them.
One of the dreams that Amaguchi has is them in like the 2024 destroyed city.
Yeah.
So
Morimura.
yeah, I guess it's
was
just,
it
like,
from the gun.
the
then?
pills.
I think it might have been
with Tomi.
Oh right. No, it was the medicine because
the pills.
yeah,
because
it's in
he's one of the
he's one of the
he's
people that
one of the
gets
people
pills.
that's like getting treated by Morimura to like have these past like because of the fucking mind sickness, the brain hurt thing that happens. to him.
Amiguchi is?
He's one of the people that
remember
you
that.
get logs or not logs or what was it? You get I forget whose storyline it was, but you see every single person who's getting medicine, and it's
Yes.
it's Juro,
Shinonomes.
it's Fuyusaka, Shinonome, and it's Amiguchi. And Amiguchi always felt like the odd one out in that regard. But I guess I think that must explain it then.
It's still odd that he has Ida's memories, though, because Ida is a separate entity.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? Tetsuya Ida?
I mean, yeah, because
Well, he is Tetsuya Ida, but you're talking about like
Tetsuya Ida of this
the
loop.
reincarnated one.
Yeah,
Or
that's what I mean. He's Ida in so much as Fuyusaka is Morimura. So I don't see why he wouldn't somehow get his memories, because he's still him in some way.
The memories that they're receiving, Kurabe only receives them because he's being fed them by Izumi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no reason Amiguchi should be getting Ida's memories unless he's being fed them by Ida or someone else, or maybe Izumi as well. Because like
I'm drawing a blank.
Because
now I'm trying to think of like
is not the same person as Amiguchi. He's from a previous loop.
Yeah.
Because does Iori have flashbacks to the original Iori, or is it the Iori from the previous
Iori
loop?
definitely has memories because she talks about Kurabe. About it with Kurabe.
Yeah, she has dreams too. And
So
I don't
okay.
think Izumi isn't feeding her anything, right?
Yeah, that might just be from this loop.
The treatments. The treatments that Morimura is giving the students, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
I feel like that's definitely explained at some point, though.
It's got to be explained, but like I can't think of the reason right now.
I know I beat it like a week ago, and there's
Same.
so many things that have already left my mind, and I'm just like, damn, I wish I did this like right as I
It's
fucking.
just 40 hours of new information.
Yeah. It's a lot to parse.
But I really, really enjoyed it, and I found the ending to be really good too. Like, I liked that slow reveal that they aren't actually on Earth, because at first it was like, I thought they were in space, but then the fact that they're like, oh no, they're on like a planet.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That was a really good like development.
The time travel things were concurrent and 40 years apart exactly immediately threw red flags in my head.
When they call them sectors throughout the whole game, which is another red flag that things are not as they seem.
Like I felt pretty certain from the get-go that time travel was like not actually time travel.
That's what confused me early on, because I was like, oh well, if time travel exists, why don't they just go back to like an hour before an event? But it's like, no, because it's funny, as I went through the game, like I created a way that the time travel worked that is not correct. Like I thought that it was like, okay, well, time is like, yeah, it's great how like you arrive on this idea of like, okay, well, time is all moving at the same time, but each sector is like locked in a moment. And then so all those moments are locked together, so you can only transfer between those moments. But then it's like, oh no, there just isn't time travel. Time travel doesn't. That was great. Like that's why it's funny to call it like my favorite time travel story. Yeah, they're just like loading a different instance
in the pods.
They're just loading up a different level. It was so good. I love the way the mysteries are done in this game. Masterfully done.
There's a lot of payoff in this game. It reminds me of I recently watched the Tatami Galaxy.
Oh, love that anime so much.
I have not seen it.
It's really good.
You'd love it.
You should watch it. It's only like 11 episodes, but the thing is with Tatami Galaxy is that like it is very confusing at first, and that worried me because I didn't know if it was going to stick the landing, but I had a similar feeling with 13 Sentinels in that like I felt very satisfied by the end. It's just they're both very smart stories in that way.
Yeah, I adore the Tatami Galaxy. That's probably one of my favorite like anime series that I've seen. Highly, yeah. I totally understand what you're saying, because like the way that you're just thrust into this like thing, and also, the funny thing about Tatami Galaxy too is like it is notorious for how quickly the characters speak, and like reading the subtitles is hard.
Yes.
Like you have to read it very quickly, so it's very dense. But yeah, it's good.
One thing that I picked up on pretty early on that I thought was interesting is how all the Deimos are like kind of construction equipment.
Yeah. That was
they're
cool.
Like terraformers.
Kind of reminded me of Promare, if you've seen Promare. I won't spoil it.
I know that Promare is the
I almost put
trigger movie.
Yes.
I almost put Promare in the what I got section because they both have androgynous boys in it.
Yeah, I won't go into that, but like there's a very similar thing about like mech powers being just terraforming tools in Promare, and I think that's just like so clever just as a concept, and the way it's used in 13 Sentinels is great. It's just very smart.
When you have Gurren Lagann, one of the biggest mecha shows where like the mecha is literally a drill.
True, yeah.
It ends up going to construction equipment eventually. Especially since pretty much all construction equipment is basically a mecha in its own way.
We just need to give them hard hats so they're being safe while terraforming a new planet.
Although I was more suspicious of the like so they established early on that like we're using Deimos technology to advance the Sentinels, and then you encounter the Gladiators, which are basically just Deimos Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was way more suspicious about that. Like I think at some point they kind of established that the Gladiators are basically just Sentinels pilots by androids, I think in Tomi's.
Isn't that the original hypothesis?
Maybe, but
because I think they talk about that in the battle sections, that they think that they're recovered Sentinels from the first loop that were lost. But I think then they realize that the Deimos are like constructing Sentinels on their own.
Yeah, it's like they're just using that information from the battles with the Sentinels. This actually
Also,
okay.
the giant just walking factories are amazing. They're probably my favorite of the Damus.
They're annoying as fuck, is what they are.
They are, but like I like the idea of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually one thing that I was trying to predict that I think I incorrectly predicted with like, because you remember when they go into the Sentinels and the one first thing we learn about them is like the computer voice that talks to you is your voice.
Yes,
And
I noticed that.
when they did the whole Tomi Kisaragi being like, when Tetsuya Ida was like making Tomi
you thought they
Kisaragi
would
AI,
Sentinel?
yeah, I thought that was going to be like, oh, well, it's like one of those horrible things. Like, there's a Black Mirror episode based on this concept where like they take a copy of your personality and then they put it inside the Sentinel, and then that basically runs a Sentinel for you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I thought they were going to do, but they didn't really.
I think I would have thought that if they hadn't said that running the Sentinels causes an extreme strain on your brain and like that. It's clear that at that point that the Sentinels are being controlled by the pilots.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't really be a need for an AI controlling it because otherwise that'd be
I thought it was more
redundant.
like a kind of, I don't, this is such a weird reference. In Marvel Comics, there's a Nova comic from like 10 fucking years ago, not even longer, where basically the Nova is like he's like basically like a Green Lantern in space kind of like character, and he gets like the super intelligence of the Novas in his head. So he's just a normal Earth guy, but he has like this supercomputer in his brain that like tells him all the best moves to do and stuff. And that's what I thought it was kind of be like the humans are still controlling it, and then they have this like super smart AI that is like helping them, but that's not at all.
They have a game shark.
Yeah, I really did love all the little video gamey references, like, oh yeah, you have to upgrade your meta chips, and I really love that stuff still.
What is there anything else we want to talk about?
Honestly, I think just like talking about the ending a little bit and then kind of having that be the wrap up would be
Sure.
good, because I love, so I really like the ending, and like they're all whatever, they get out of their pods, but I really love like the whole reunited as our high school self scene, because that feels like such a fun what if to like, especially if you're like dating your high school sweetheart, to be like, hey, let's go back and like be high schoolers again for a day. I don't know. I think that's such
how
a
sentimental.
Yeah, it's such a cute idea.
It's nice.
The whole epilogue is really sweet. I really like the one CG that they have where it's just like the planet that they landed on.
Oh yeah, that's really pretty.
Purple or something. Like that looks really interesting. And then how they describe it in the epilogue is especially interesting. Yeah.
Also, I love that one little bit where when Hijiyama meets up with Okino, and Okino is dressed up in like his female attire.
I can be anything in here.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, we can fuck like a guy and a girl, basically. I thought that was really funny, but also at the same time I was like, damn, I just wish these characters were married. I love them so much.
Yeah,
I just love them.
It wasn't as I was worried that they were going to be like very vague with it, but they weren't as vague with the Hijiyama Okino thing. It seems like a foregone conclusion that they're gonna get together. This is probably just gonna take a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I already mentioned it, but the other scene that I absolutely loved was Izumi and Morimura. Like, it just them like reverting back to like their high school. Morimura and Izumi like reverting back to their high school forms and like getting to like actually live as kids and like not have to go through all the shit they went through. To me, is just like one of those very like bittersweet kind of like, oh, I'm so happy that they finally got their happy ending.
Yeah, Izumi's one of the more tragic characters.
I thought that was just like a little sentimental thing. Did they actually transform into their younger selves?
Well, they're AI. I think they can just do that.
Well, yeah, I guess.
They could just like become. Yeah, they don't need to like be their punished like future versions. Punished Izumi. Okay, now I need to see fan art of every like punished version of each character. Like, punish Takamiya and
A man denied his memories.
And his future. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I just really love this game. I'm so happy to have people to talk to about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've tried to get several dozen people to talk about it with me, and no one has played this game.
And it's yeah, as I said before, like you guys are like the two only people, the only other people on the internet that I know that beat the game. So like,
We're the only ones. We're the only ones who beat the game.
and then you, dear listener, who is the fourth person to beat 13 Sentinels, that is the one person listening to this podcast.
Well, the fifth, because I'm sure Yoko Taro beat it.
Oh, very true, very true.
I'm,
Yeah, so
I'm
there's
just
only-
assuming that anyone watching this podcast has not beaten it and is just getting spoiled as hell right now.
If so,
Okay,
shame
The
on
people
you.
who have beaten it do
Shame.
not exist.
This is where we all point and say shame at those people.
Shame you, and also this podcast was probably scatterbrained enough where we didn't. Did we even talk about the Did we even talk about the scene in the bathroom where the Karabe android transfers the
Terminator.
yeah that
Oh, I love that scene.
that was a really creepy scene, and now we just spoiled it. So
Seeing Tomi's like dead android corpse was like
oh
It's
yeah,
legitimately
also
shocking.
weird because that's just Azumi.
Yes.
Azumi the whole
There's
time.
layers.
It's like,
yeah,
like he's technically doing the right thing, but like it's like someone talking in an evil voice and maniacally laughing every 2 seconds, despite
he doesn't make
saving an orphanage or something.
I think that's part of his goal, is that he needs to be the bad guy this time, because he's tried a bunch of
technically he's
different
sending
ways.
kids to potentially die, so it's not a
Yeah.
good thing he's doing, but it's
Well, if he doesn't do it, then everyone's fucked.
yeah.
yeah, he's the punished Juro. Like, yeah, he's willing to do whatever it takes.
He tried killing them before, and it also didn't work. So yeah,
Damn,
poor guy.
That's fucked up. Sad. Let's get a big sad for Juro Izumi.
Yeah, let's get F's in chat for Juro Izumi 426.
God,
Karabe's
the
just kind of
beginning
a
of this game
dork.
is such a mindfuck because you're just like bombarded with all these Japanese names.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone has like 5 aliases, and
it's funny because like when we started talking about it, I was so rusty, but now I'm like my brain has switched back. Like I know everyone's name.
same.
You were suffering from brain overload.
We got June, we got Mirai.
Mirai. You know my brain still makes a
Fuyusaki.
mistake. Fuyusaki.
They're
yeah,
just
so
they're just my pet names.
We got
you know.
Josuke.
Perfect.
But yeah, I can't wait for 13 Sentinels 2.
14 Sentinels.
Can't wait for the
14
anime.
Sentinels. Okay,
That'll
actually,
look
I was
worse in
thinking
I
about
every
don't
that.
way.
even think that's possible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, would any madman try and come along and adapt and like make an adaptation of this?
You have to have 13 separate animes that are running concurrently.
Or they just try and do like one episode per character and fuck it up like they always do.
I have faith.
You can't even do that. You would have to Game of Thrones it and have multiple characters per episode.
And then the 9th season would be like all original content.
There would be 9 seasons, though.
I never said it was gonna be good. I was just looking forward to it.
The train wreck that we all love.
Mm.
But you know what isn't a train wreck? 13 Sentinels on PS4. Buy it today.
Buy it today. Really good
Hey,
game.
you person who is listening to this, buy the game that we've just spoiled.
The GameStop's
Do it.
selling it for half off on Black Friday. I hope they're selling it online because I wouldn't want anyone going to GameStop on Black Friday.
It'd be a real Black Friday if you
especially
caught
not
COVID.
this Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly. But
Jesus
if
Christ,
it's an
no.
online thing, definitely pick it up then because it'll be $30. So the if $60 price tag for a game like this, I think it's worth it. But I can see why someone maybe be apprehensive.
I
Pick
think
it up.
for most people, this is like a $30 game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in like a position right now where I was like very comfortable spending $60 on this, but I understand that's like that's a pretty big price tag for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially if like it's a game where you can only really go on people's recommendations and can't really like, oh, what's this game about? Can't tell you.
Just play it.
It's a spoiler.
Just play it.
Just play it.
Play what? It's not even a game.
Oh, what, a reading simulator?
Why don't I just read a book? Lol.
Well, unfortunately, I have some bad news. They have made figures, and they are making figures for this game.
I've seen.
Oh,
them.
I have seen.
I only saw this just now, and unfortunately, I'm only seeing Iori, my least favorite.
Yeah. They're making a Natsuno one right now.
Oh, that's better.
Let me.
I guess
There's a 4th scale, 1 in 4 scale, which is ridiculous.
I think I saw that one. Yeah, it's like fucking huge.
Yeah, that's massive.
And it's also like $300.
Oh god.
No, thank you.
What sucks about, like, I like Fuyusaka. I don't know if I'd get figure of her, but what sucks is that like the pre-order ended in like the end of, or like midway through October or something, and the game only just came out in the West over here, but it's been out in Japan for like a year. So people have had plenty of time to be attached to the characters. I wasn't. If I was a fan of Iori, I would have been disappointed to find out that a pre-order for a figure had just ended after I had gotten the game.
I mean, they're not really going to tailor it to Western fans.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
especially
It's just a shame.
since it needs to be imported.
Yeah, I'm sure the game will get more stuff.
Also, they have a statue of Iori, and then they also have a Nendoroid.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of
why not, I
Nendoroids?
guess.
Do you like those? I think they're okay.
I don't
care
mean,
for
they're better
them.
than Funko Pops, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But
I
I'm not a
own
big fan of the cheesy
one,
aesthetic.
and like seeing pictures of them, I always thought they were cool, but actually owning one, like, kind of disappointed in the build quality. Honestly, like,
They're pretty cheap, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like as you said, it's better than Funko Pops.
You know what I want? A 13 Sentinels amiibo.
Yeah,
Which we use
when they're putting
on
Karate
our
in Smash.
our Nintendo Switch copy of 13 Sentinels.
You can see it, but I'm soying right now over my Nintendo Switch.
Holding up pictures of Yakushiji.
What is even the point of a Nintendo Switch if it cannot play 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim?
They should definitely port this game to
everything,
to PC at least. I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll get. I think it'll get a second life on PC.
Guys, I don't know about
Totally.
that Xbox release though.
Yeah. Well, I don't think any Vanillaware game has been on an Xbox console.
I don't think any Japanese game in the last 10 years has been on Xbox.
Touche. Well, the new Yakuza game was.
There are some, but like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
It's only games that'll really sell well in the West. Because, like, you know it's not going to sell in Japan.
Yeah.
It's still so funny that it was on the Wii. That Odin Sphere, well, not Odin Sphere, sorry.
Muramasa.
Muramasa was on the Wii. That's just thinking of like 40p.
That needs to get ported. Out of all the Vanillaware games that need to get ported the most, it's that Muramasa definitely needs it the most. Unless you guys have your fucking PlayStation TV,
Oh my god!
you're not getting to play that game in high.
Hey,
high
Persona
def.
4 Golden is on PC now. It's literally no reason to exist.
We're getting there. Atlas is like kicking and screaming, coming into like like the modern era, but
Yeah.
Maybe Sega can convince Atlas to convince Vanillaware to put it on PC.
It would definitely have to be like an outside project. I don't think Vanillaware has the resources to port it themselves, but Atlas definitely does. So get on it, Atlas.
This is the official Atlas call outpost.
I don't care if you go out of business. Just make sure you port 13 Sentinels Aegis from the PC before you do it.
Yoko Taro himself.
Yeah. Yoko Taro has made his line in the sand, and I'm with him.
Yoko Taro confirms he is not making Nier 3 unless
13 Sentinels sells 1 million copies.
In a perfect world.
All right.
All right. Do we have anything else? I think this is the time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
This has been like very good. Like for my soul, this has been very good.
It's a nice release.
Yeah.
To finally talk about this
finally
game.
being able to talk about this game is interesting.
I just like I always think about this when I put like a podcast out, like that one person that will just like get the most out of this. Like I'm so happy that one person is out there. Like there'll be one person that loves this, and that's it, just one.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, we do it for them, do it for her or him.
For the one guy.
The one other person who's played 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Thank you.
So I do this in my other podcast sometimes, but if you've made it this far, dear listener, drop in the comment your favorite and your least favorite of the 13 Sentinels to prove that you made it this far.
Yeah.
All of them. The pilot, the machine itself, the story,
the machine.
the start animation.
Yep.
Apparently that plays when you do a new story for like once you completed each of the character.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nifty.
Whoa.
So that's pretty cool. There's like a actual way to review it.
That's sick. Yeah, sick game, sick studio. You love to see it. 2020, not as bad as I thought. Still pretty bad.
It's
Technically, this is a 2019 game.
Shit.
It took them forever to localize
13 Sentinels tells the story of humanity after 2020.
Basically. But yeah, so if we want to, I guess plugs. I guess we can plug now that we're finished. We all like the game a lot. Y'all, we'll start with Tectonic. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, watch my YouTube channel. I make videos on video games and sometimes other things, but mostly video games. I'm working on a big video about JRPGs I've played this year. 13 Sentinels won't be in that video, but chances are if you've listened to this podcast, you probably like JRPGs too, so stick around for that, and shout outs to Large Chat.
JRPGs?
JRPGs?
What?
Japanese role-playing games?
What does the J stand for?
Japanese? Have you guys never heard of JRPGs?
Oh,
like
I'm kidding, obviously.
I got played. I can't believe I just got played.
I do. I have to say, I think I mentioned it before.
Is that like Dungeons and Dragons?
No, it's just it's just turn-based RPGs. That
What's a turn?
Turn?
Well,
wait, like,
all right,
what I do to my toaster when I want
Sentinels,
toast,
right? And how in that game the mechs turn around. It's like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I think I mentioned it already, but I love your Persona 3 video. I was so happy to see that.
Thank you. That's actually part of the. That was going to be part of the JRPG video, and I will have more to say about Persona 3 in.
Oh, sick!
In the big video proper.
That and I feel like I need to mention I love your fucking the fucking video you did about Linkara lore.
Oh,
the lecture.
Yeah. I
awesome.
I like that video a lot too. Thank you.
Yeah, Aeon, if you haven't seen, he did like it's like what, like 2 hours long? Is it 2? Going through all of Linkara, the comic book reviewers' lore, all of his like skit videos. It's great. It's wonderful.
I need to check that out. Also, that Persona 3 video. Persona 3 is my favorite game.
Then you'll probably like what I have to say about Persona 3.
Oh,
hell yeah!
Don't worry, it's my favorite game of all time. It is also extremely flawed, and I will always admit that.
Then I think you'll I think you'll like what I have to say in my video.
I'm like the same exact fucking wavelength. We won't talk about it now, but Persona 3 is like my favorite ending of all time. I fucking love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ending is like 90% of why it's one of my favorite game of all time.
I just cry thinking about the ending. I love it
let's
so
not.
much.
We have enough spoilers in this cast already.
No. That'll be I really want to replay Persona 3. Maybe one day I'll do something on it, but. So yeah, Aeon, do you want to plug anything?
Oh yeah, I make videos.
Hell yeah,
let's go.
I've made mostly Jojolian videos. I plan to make other stuff in the future, but yeah, that's the gist of what I have right now.
Jojolian, that's the part 8, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with a Gappy.
Gappy.
Good old Gappy. Yeah.
You see, if you like 13 Sentinels, you'll like Jojolian because both involve protagonists with insane amounts of amnesia.
Yeah, you'll be right at home.
Yeah, Aeon's videos are great. I love your videos. They're so good, and it was so awesome seeing, because I remember seeing your videos early on. It's so awesome seeing them like explode, and like everyone. Obviously, I'm in the like Jojolian community as well, and like seeing everyone talk about those theories is just so fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I do a podcast. I guess I'm posting this on this channel. I do Joe Kakaka, the Jojolian podcast that no one likes. But yeah, check out other stuff that I do on this channel. Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap it up. I just want to thank you guys once again. I think I'm cutting out a bit, so I'm sorry if that's an issue. But I want to thank you guys once again for joining me and indulging my fantasy of talking about 13 Sentinels with people.
No problem. This is a symbiotic relationship. And last.
Yeah. Savor it now, 'cause this is it. All right, so let's say goodbye now. Bye.
Bye.